Well, I say every day it's a getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
We're not qualified to be
Explorers in the further regions of experience.
I understand. Did you not listen? Then the hell with you.
All right, greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 105th episode of Screaming Into the Void. My name is Samuel the Infamous. This is the show where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. And today I am joined by Shadu.
Howdy, everyone. Welcome.
And we also have with us returning once again the inimitable Caucasian Sasquatch.
I must apologize for my present. No one really asked me to be here.
Aw, that's sad.
It is what it is. It is what it is. We may have some others joining us as the show progresses. We will see how things go. You might have noticed that Gal is not present. I think she's sleeping. I'm not sure. So, hopefully she shows up at some point, or at least wakes up long enough to yell at me for all the messages I left her. That'll be fine. So we are starting off with stuff again. It's been a week again. Stuff to talk about, and we will get into that. First, I will say hello to the chat because we need to get the pleasantries out of the way. It's only polite, it's only civilized, so first we have Shadow of Hawk putting backwards shit in my chat. Do I look like Zatanna?
No, I'm the one saying it.
We have Zillage with us. Hello, Zillage.
Hello, Zilch.
Shaka Zulu being a little rainbowy there. All right, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Caucasian Sasquatch. So this came up last night as well, where panelists get greeted when they're in the chat, even when they're on the panel, kind of thing. Apparently, this is a thing that drives a couple of our fellow YouTubers out there insane. Like, why the hell are you greeting them? You just said hello to them. You just introduced them. I was like, I mean, it's only polite. I could start skipping it. I'm not going to, and now I'm doing it because it fucking annoys you, Adam. I'm just leaving it out there.
Wow. Naming names.
As a matter of fact, welcome to Samuel the Infamous. There you go, Adam. Is that meta enough for you? Anyway, we also have Andy Pickle over on the Rumble side. Good to see you, my man. We got Poor Dirt Farmer. Wow, been a minute, man. Haven't seen you in a long time.
What is up?
Tell you what, if you've been looking for Amira's channel, the one that got nuked, which is I think the last time I saw you, go to my community tab, right, and scroll down. You're bound to find one of her more recent live streams on her second channel. There, you can find her channel from there. If you've been looking for her, we haven't seen you around in a long time, man. Good to see you. We have also, let's see, Jess, welcome in. I see Gary Baxter's with us. Hello. And Andy Pickle over on the YouTube side. Let me double check something real quick because I'm curious about this. Holy shit, we're actually live on X. I got my blue check today, so I was wondering if that was going to kick in or not. So yeah, we are live on X, on Rumble, on both Caucasian Sasquatch and my YouTube channels. So yeah, welcome in. We also have a guest coming in, first time on the show, and actually my first time meeting her on a panel. Although that was supposed to happen last night, but there was a mix-up of times. Welcome in, Toasty. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi, guys.
Howdy, welcome.
Greetings.
I'm
Welcome
glad
to the
to
show.
be here. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're like I said, we may have some more people come in later. We'll see how it goes. I am going to get back on my fucking soapbox because it's been that kind of week. Hello, Independent Men United. Let's see. If you come in and I don't specifically say your name or whatever, I will try to bring up at least one of your chats so that you do see that we do see you and we recognize that you're there and we do appreciate you. I know it sounds like fucking pandering when I put it like that, but that's not how I meant it.
Actually,
So
I think it's exactly how you meant it because people like to hear your name.
That's true. That's true. But I was trying not to be a dick about it.
You failed at that part. You failed at, but it was pandering directly to the chat and to the audience in general.
You don't have to keep pointing out how big an asshole I am to them. I'm just saying.
But it's so glaringly obvious. It's like not mentioning the sun. All right, I'm done.
An asshole?
Right. So, Toasty, since it's your first time on the channel, why don't you let people know a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay. So like, I'm a content creator. I'm on YouTube as Toasty with a Mosey 69, and we just on Rumble as well. But we joke around. We play videos, police body cams, political talks as well. A whole bunch of stuff like mixed together, like just everything. Yeah, and I stream a lot, and I'm always tweeting out. You can find me on X as that base Latinx. It's supposed to be a funny name because it's a contradiction, right? Based and Latinx. So it's I think people when they see my name, they get confused. They're like, okay, why do you have Latinx if you're supposed to be based? And I'm like, well, just read my name again. It's supposed to be funny. It's a contradiction. So that's the point. So whatever. But anyways, yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal. Shock, I like it. Shock would. It was Snark and Sass coming in too, and Aaron Laura I saw just a minute ago. I think I brought your chat up on. Yep, there she is. Yeah, thank you all for being here. It's going to be another show. It's going to be another show. I thought we might start. Yep.
I'm sorry to cutting you off, but do you mind if I stream this to my audience so that way I can have them subscribe to your channel?
Not at all.
Okay, cool. I'll put your link in the thing. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm not generally against that. I do like to warn people beforehand because sometimes things get said that let me put it this way. Way back in like January, I said a thing on a stream that was being streamed to multiple channels, and it got both our channels taken down for a week. So,
well, I'm quite used to it. Trust me. I'm
okay.
It gets a little spicy on my. I'm good. I am good. I'm good. Yeah.
So, I'm enjoying this one more.
Oh, right. I know. Hey, well, Zillage, I think you were there for that. It was a Screaming to the Void with Legion Talk was streaming to his channel, and we were talking about I think the son of one of the founders of the WEF. This is what I said, and I had articles to back it up at the time. Was calling for people who were pushing a certain stroke poke to be strung up for war crimes worldwide. and all that, and I wasn't advocating for that in any way. I was just saying that this is what this dude said, and here's the article where he, is quoted as saying this thing, and it may be out of context, it may not be, but here it is, and they hit us pretty hard for that.
Yeah. So. I can't imagine why though. I don't know why they'd want to keep all that under wraps.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, but yeah, one of the founding members of the WEF who quit when he found out exactly what they were about, his son was the one who said the thing. And anyway, yeah, it was
other news,
right?
Yeah. Too far down that path. Paris is apparently satanic. Did you know that?
What's that?
Paris is apparently satanic. Did we know this?
That's one of the topics for today, and that's actually why I'm kind of pissy. So, I went on like a 5 post rant about it on Twix the other day. Not about that specifically, but about the whole like satanic panic thing, because I was just like, look, just because people do a thing doesn't mean Satan's behind it. It just means those people are fucking making evil choices. So
yeah, I had it bookmarked if you want me to pull it up.
oh, don't I wouldn't worry too much about it. We'll probably end up covering everything that's in it anyway at some point. But
Yeah,
before
well,
we
I'll
do that,
post it anyway.
I
There we go.
do have something that I ran across a couple of weeks ago that I thought was really cool.
Neat.
And I'm not gonna play it with the
Oh,
music
he's
because-
glitching out. Okay. Hold on.
Am I glitching out?
Yeah,
A little bit.
You came to the end of that sentence. It was like somebody cut off your existence. Just went dead.
It's
Yeah.
that damn it's that damn dominant of Malasia Wi-Fi. Malasia is not known for its Wi-Fi. It is known for its coups done by YouTubers.
Like references everybody understands, kid.
Yeah, something with them.
I have
Kikasia,
no idea what that means.
The 1 acre dictatorship of Malasia, which was conquered by the Nostalgia Critic.
Okay, so nothing that matters that anyone who has never heard of it would care about.
No, it was making fun of your current internet situation.
Yeah, no, my current internet situation is that it's shit. By the way, Toasty, if I, for whatever reason, drop out of the panel, it's not because I got frustrated and left. It's because I got booted by my shitty internet.
Gotcha.
I will be back.
Okay.
So, these
up,
guys
John?
are used to it. So, but I do want to bring this up because I think this is pretty cool. I think I'm probably going to keep the audio off because there is music and I have no idea where the music comes from and all that shit, but it is pretty neat. This is one of the coolest captures of a meteor I have ever seen, and it appears to be genuine and accidental. It may not be. You never know. Internet's weird like that. But yeah, so check this out.
And the invasion has begun. Dun dun dun.
I was thinking more XCOM music, but that works.
Yeah, well, I think the idea was to do something else. From what I understand, this was in Turkey about 3 weeks ago.
Right?
Hmm.
Do we know?
See, that's a
whether or
very
not-
good
so.
place for an alien invasion to begin.
What was that, Squanch?
Do we know whether or not it reached the ground? Looks like it burned out before it reached the ground. They don't usually get that.
Yeah.
Off gassing real hard.
I think something that big, like the angle of descent, probably did burn it up. But yeah, something that's that visible and that bright and that close. If it did reach the ground, I think we probably would have heard more about it.
Yeah.
You know,
That was a really good camera too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was a very good camera she had with her.
yeah,
Are you
was
sure
very
it
cool.
wasn't like one of those you know how you could add effects to like videos and stuff? You could add
Not 100%.
Her head angle is flawless. She looks at the meteor as it goes down. It's flawless. If it's a fake, it's a very, very good one.
Yeah. As to the quality of the camera, I mean, Tick Thought's gonna Tick Thought. She was probably going out there to shoot some like shitty dance video, and then that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Zillage, as far as I know, that was real. Like I said, it's kind of hard to verify something like that with just a video, and it's not really in the news because everybody's so concerned with, mortal stupidity right now that they're not paying attention to the cool things that are all around us. So I thought I would throw that off. Hey, Rez, good to see you, man. If you go back like I don't know, 3 minutes, meteor thing, but you haven't missed much. We've only been live for about 14 minutes and doing introductions and shit. But yeah, good to see you, man. I'm clicking on everything here because my mouse spazzed out for a second. Sorry about that.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
You know what else I saw?
to get
The
into it.
issues are part of the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. What did Aaron Laura say about it's not streaming unless it's struggle streaming? He made it sound like StreamYards is trying to violate me.
I mean, isn't it?
I'm trying to remember which comic said it, but there was this famous line where he was like, "Look, if it feels like more than 2 fingers, it's probably a dick."
Rez.
So yeah, that's to get into it. So the Olympics had their opening ceremony in Paris this week.
Oh Lord.
Everybody's losing their shit over it.
Yep.
This comes 1 week after everybody lost their shit over a Sikh prayer at the RNC. words like demonic, satanic are getting thrown around willy-nilly. You know, and I take issue with that. I take issue with that. Now, I don't take issue with the fact that there was some shit going on in that opening ceremony that kids watch the Olympics. There shouldn't have been fucking drag queens fucking twerking. That should not have been a thing there. But you know, and I also recognize that France has been weak and degenerate since at least since 1940, probably before then.
Yeah. They lost a lot of their mojo after Napoleon got a lot of their guys dead, and then
their problem is they send their best men to the French Forward Legion because all the best men are foreigners.
Cool Frog.
Yeah. So, hey, Cool Frog, welcome in. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of driving me nuts because we've got a bunch of right-wing Christians here in the States who are up in arms about this stuff, you know, and I feel compelled to point some shit out about this. It's like, number one, I do believe in demons. I believe that they're real. They may very well be like the realest of the real or whatever. That's not my contention. My contention is that demons, like gods, do not have the power to make you do a damn thing. You have to choose it. When we say things like people are possessed, or it was demonic influence, or even on the opposite side of that, it was like God was working through him, what you're doing is you are stripping the agency and the responsibility for those actions from the person who committed them.
Right. That's my issue as well, honestly.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, so with really extreme right-wing Christians, they tend to throw that around, kind of like how the left like to throw around the, you know, the words racist and bigots and fascists and stuff like that. So I think that when you throw around and you're saying, oh, that's demonic, they're I don't know, there's something possessing them. I feel like in a way you're not holding them any responsibility of their actions and stuff. That doesn't help out the situation, you know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
How do you try to hold someone accountable that you believe is under some form of demonic agency, unless the situation is as Sam put it, and they have to choose to do the demonic stuff that they do due to free will?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's been my issue. Is like, okay, so you get people like, do you guys know who Marina Abramovich is?
Mm-mm.
I've heard the name.
Okay, so Marina Abramovich is involved with all of the stuff that Alex Jones likes to lump under Bohemian Grove, right? It's not limited to one location. It's all over the place. She's you know, friends with the Obamas, friends with the Clintons, friends with like a lot of the people in Washington and in other heads of state areas. She's technically, quote unquote, a performance artist, but she hosts things that she calls spirit dinners. And what a spirit dinner is essentially ritualized cannibalism.
She's the spirit chef. She's the one that became somewhat famous for hosting the spirit cooking seance things. Yeah. I don't even know how to quantify it, but it was like, what, 5 years ago, maybe, right before the whole spooferoo?
Yep. So she also is famous for doing like paintings and performance arts with, you know, involving like her own menstrual blood and semen and, you know, things of that nature as paint. You know, it's like she did this whole thing where she covered herself in her own menstrual blood and like stood there and let people stare at her for like 24 straight hours kind of shit and called it quote unquote art. You know, the woman's jacked up, right? When we talk about people like her, right, and the people who hang around her and the things that that they allegedly get up to, those actions are evil, committed by evil people. I know there are people out there who say she's in league with Satan. I don't know that that's the case. I do know that this woman is up to and involved with things and people that are, in fact, evil, right? You know, I think she might have been involved with Balenciaga and some other like pedo shit. And yeah, it's pretty bad.
Would you say it's fair to make the statement that she is doing the devil's work, not in the sense that like she is knowingly consorting with the devil, but rather doing things that further the devil's agenda, because he is real and he's got plans and agendas and all that.
See, that's where I get hung up, kid, is because in order to make that assumption, one has to assume that the Christian theology is in fact true.
First, you must believe.
Because look, here's the facts, right? If you believe in Satan, you are by definition a Christian. You're just a bad one if you worship him.
Yeah.
Because Satan is part of the Christian ideology. It's not part of, say, the Shinto ideology or the Hindu ideology or, the Asatru or whatever. It's very specifically a Christian thing, right?
So
Or
remove the label
let me expand that like an Abrahamic, because the term comes from Old Hebrew Hashaitan, which means the accuser, which is actually separate from how Christians think of him. But
yeah.
So no, I do split hairs on this, because in order to say it's the devil's agenda, specifically it's Satan's agenda, means that you are assuming that that particular being is a real thing. And if you're assuming that, then you have to assume that his opposite, Christ, is also a real thing, which makes you a Christian. Like even in your Bible, man, it says that the demons believe and they tremble. Right?
Yeah.
Which would make demons Christians, by the way, just really bad ones.
Absolutely horrible ones. So then your specific hang up is attributing this evil to specifically the Christian or the Abrahamic pantheon. So if you were to remove the specification
not
of
exactly.
Satan, but if you were to describe a generalist evil, like there is a malevolent presence.
He's saying the opposite. He's saying
you're assuming that evil,
regardless of who does it, but these people are specifically boxing it into a Christian concept, and that limits the perception of the evil that's being perpetrated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking,
evil itself is not a sentient thing. It's an idea, right? Good and evil are not like overarching things. There are things that are good, there are things that are evil, but good and evil themselves are not like pushing specific agendas. They simply are. They're forces of nature, one might say. So no, it isn't just the Satan angle, although I specifically take issue with that just in terms of like splitting hairs and accuracy. What I'm getting at is that external influences, while they may try to influence a person, are not responsible for that person's actions. That person is. That's my issue. Like, so saying that people are possessed or demonic or, influenced or whatever is beside the point. That doesn't matter. What matters is that this person over here either did a very good thing or a very bad thing, and they need to be accounted for that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't care if Satan's involved. Satan is unimportant to what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Just wanted to get that clarified.
Yeah.
So what was your most offended point for the opening ceremony? Was it the opening with the throuple or the drag queen biblical hour?
Personally, the biblical hour.
Yeah, they did. That specifically was done in order to offend people.
Yeah.
That's why they did that. That's what the point was to offend people. I'm kind of offended, and I'm not a fucking Christian. So, because that was all that was ever about, was about pissing people off, was about offending them, was about mocking other people's beliefs. And as you know, Shadow, while I don't share the same beliefs as you do, I don't hold it against you that you do. I don't try to tear you down because of it, for example. Just for example.
Yeah.
But
you're more mature than me. I actively attack you for your beliefs.
Well, I'm older and I've lived through more shit, so
absolutely. Like, I'm not Christian myself, but I know plenty of Christian people, and they're very, very kind people.
Yeah. I try, Rez. I try. I fail sometimes. Sometimes I get real petty.
Oh, that's me 24/7.
Yeah. So I guess my soapbox is like this is just another example of what's going on. People are losing their shit over something, and they're attributing specific things to it that may or may not be involved, but are ultimately unimportant, to whatever's happening. Like, you can say this is kind of like they're blaming what happened in France on Satan in the same way that Son of Sam blamed all of the murdering he did on his dog.
On his neighbor's dog. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. The dog had nothing to fucking do with it.
The dog wasn't involved. The demons are not involved. They didn't show up and put the dresses on them and make them dance like little puppets. That's not what happened. What happened is a group of people got together and said, do you know what would make headlines? We did this.
Yeah.
It's all about attention.
Yeah.
I agree.
And this is correct here. What Rez is saying. I absolutely would have had an issue with that because children are present and they don't need to be around that shit. Right? Like, people want to go and dress up like the opposite sex and, like, do little sexy shows and whatever. That's not my, whatever, but if you involve kids in any way, and if something is on not even national television, but global television, right? Kids are going to fucking see that.
Yeah.
People in China were watching that. I'm sure the CCP was very unhappy.
Absolutely. Oh, wait, did you hear there was like the 6th largest, I think, media company or something like that in the United States pulled their support of the Olympics because of that display. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter again, actually.
Yeah. So, and like, I'm not ranting as long and as hard here as I thought that I might. I actually had a conversation with my mother on the phone before we started the show, and I went over a lot of this stuff with her already. So I kind of got a lot of it out of my system, but I'm not concerned with external influences. What I am concerned with, and what seems most true to me, is that good and evil lie in the hearts of all of us. We are all capable of both great good and great evil, and it comes down to our specific choices, to our free will. If you attribute things that people did of their own free will to something else, something other and outside of them, then not only are you stripping them of their agency, but the concept of free will itself goes out the window. Then things like destiny and fate have to be true. And that means that nothing we do means fucking anything. And we mean nothing. We are just pawns. Our choices don't matter. And that I take issue with. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What you're saying, as I understand it, you want the individuals responsible to accept what they have done and to reap the whirlwind as delivered by the army of memers. I mean, it's gonna happen. You can't look simple as I dare them to do that with Muhammad.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And that's something else that I've been seeing a lot lately is people up in arms about this, but they're not going to do anything besides post on fucking Twitter or rant at their local church. They're not going to do a goddamn thing. And I'm not saying that they should go out and do like horrible, violent things in retaliation. I think that's a fucking terrible idea too. However, I will say, in line with what Squatch is saying, is that people don't do this to Muslims. They do not actively mock the Muslim faith. And the reason that they don't do that is because Muslims will fucking kill you. Modern Christians will not do a goddamn thing.
Right.
They are not feared.
We're cringe as fuck.
Cringe.
You know?
I can accept cringe. I mean, the Christian rap, the devil is my N. I mean, the Jesus is my N-word. That is as cringe can cringe, right? It is so cringy, you should actually develop flesh burns from the cringe. But what occurred the other night, that's beyond cringe. That is directly the message, just bludgeoning people at random with the message.
And there should be some kind of major backlash. Oh, howdy, Clue, or salute to Clue. There should be some kind of major backlash from French Christians, European Christians, Western Christians, Latin Christians, whatever label you want to ascribe to it. There should be a response. There's not going to be a response because modern Christians are cringe as fuck. And I am speaking of a broad aggregate, King Yeti. I don't know you personally, so I can't say.
Oh, he's from my channel.
Oh,
Yeti.
that's what I assumed it was either him or yours or Squatch's.
Yeah. For everybody,
and
everybody new
actually, he's
coming
probably
in.
not the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably
For
not the first
everybody new
person to get
coming
mad at
in.
me. Oh, sorry, Sam.
Oh no, shut the fuck up. For everybody new coming in, welcome to the show. This is Screaming to the Void, a show that we do on my channel, Samuel the Infamous, every Saturday afternoon, my time, which is like evening if you're on the East Coast. So we're currently live on my channel, Twix and Rumble, and as well we are running. It looks like on Caucasian Sasquatch's YouTube channel. And is that your Rumble channel as well, Toasty?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Toasty's Rumble and YouTube as well. So we're fucking booking. We're cooking.
Hell yeah.
So welcome in. For those of you who don't know, yeah, we do this show every week. And we talk about anything and everything from what we're talking about right now to greater concepts of faith to how brain organelles work, which was a show that I know that Squatch particularly hated. We talk about all kinds of shit. So stick around, you might find something you enjoy. Lately, it's been mostly politics, but this is an election year in the United States. So if you've been paying attention to that, shit's gotten crazy the last couple of weeks. And I would also like to point out that we are all worried about this shit going on in France with their Olympics and shit, but nobody's talking about all of the immigrant issues they're having over there with like for instance, in terms of like when I said Christians won't do shit about this, and they won't, right? In France. What was it? Squatch, maybe you remember, it was like 8-9 years ago or some shit like that. There was a cartoonist who worked for a French magazine who made a cartoon, and they broke into his office and they cut off his fucking head and recorded it.
They chopped this. They drug him out in the street
in France.
In France, in the middle of the street, made a video stating we are doing this because he defiled the image of Muhammad, chopped his head off, uploaded it, and walked away. And to my knowledge, no one has been punished for this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's
and they won't
insane.
Yeah, I think he was a soldier in the British Army, got like stabbed by a Muslim. The guy got up immediately.
If you do certain things, they throw you from high places.
Yeah. There was a woman in Italy, I think, who was being. I'm trying to phrase this nice because I don't know what terminology you allow on your channel, Toasty. But she was being forced upon by two migrants, and then 3 more, I think, Pakistani migrants were walking by and they joined in, and then I believe all of them either suffered very little time or they didn't suffer any time at all. It's been a while since I've seen the article. Like Europe is actively letting these people do whatever the fuck they want.
There's another layer, Egg. Later, she was complaining on some social media site, and because she used phrases that were deemed offensive, she was charged with a hate speech for speaking about the people that performed the action on her against her will.
Yeah. Similar thing happened to, I believe she was a member of the German government, I think not congresswoman, the equivalent of a congresswoman, where she was basically talking about how like Afghani migrants are just running amok and committing crimes and we need to do something about it. And she suffered a several hundred euro fine because she was being derogatory towards people of a minority status. She was calling out rapes, murders, and all that bad shit, but charge her money because she's being mean.
It's like women. It's like, how can I put this? It's not enough to be a woman or even gay nowadays. You have to be some sort of extreme or like multiple things. Like the more victim status you have, the more brownie points you get, right? So like it's not enough for me to be a woman, and I'm a Hispanic woman at that, but I look pretty, pretty Caucasian and stuff. So a lot of people, if I'm not talking or whatever, looking at me, they're gonna assume that I'm a white woman, right? But to me, it's not even enough to be like a Hispanic woman. I have to be some type of fucking dumb non-binary or some dumb shit like that, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's not enough. And I don't know. And I feel like nowadays you have a shield over you if you're considered trans, right? Like you can't do no wrong at all.
That
You
is
know,
entirely the reason the A is capitalized in Asian over here, because it throws off the Google brain bots out there. They look at that and they go, "Oh, maybe he's Asian," and they let it go. But they're not going to actually do the work and look at me. And besides, I might be eyeing you. You don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wouldn't it work half the time though, because Asians are Schrodinger's whites?
It's not a foolproof plan. It's the best I
it-
had at the time.
Schrodinger's
Yeah.
whites. What?
I believe I stole that. I think I stole that from Lauren Chen. It might have been some. I'm pretty sure it was her though.
I love looking at her
Yeah.
videos, and she's so beautiful too.
Yeah, no, Lauren Chen is.
I'm not going to deny that she's very easy on the eyes for a married woman.
Yeah, she's a hottie.
So I was shocked to find out that she was like doing the YouTube stuff back when like freaking Carl Benjamin was basically just a neckbeard talking about video games.
Yeah, she's been around for a while.
Yeah, she even like for like the concert Rucka Rucka threw forum, she was like one of the guitarists for that, which was crazy for me to like find out.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the chat right now, and Shaka says, "Look at Chris Tyson." Absolutely. So I don't know. Okay, so on my channel, we live stream, and I was showing people. You know, I did a little Chris Tyson live stream and whatnot. I did maybe like 3 of them, right? And he had posted a photo of him and his son at a baseball game, and it was on Mother's Day. So he posted a photo of him with his son, and you have all these crazy like alphabet soup people, you know, telling him happy Mother's Day. And I said, nah, still a dude. That's what I commented, and forget about it. Chris Tyson actually went into my DM and told me to off myself, and I even have screenshots. I even live streamed it in my channel and stuff. Like, he got so pissed off that he had to DM me, a fucking nobody, by the way. Like, he has a whole bunch of followers, and I have, last time I had like maybe like, I don't know, 600 followers or something like that. He messaged me and told me to off myself.
Yeah, because you penetrated his safe little bubble of how amazing he is. He understands. I guarantee he, like most other people, understands how big of a piece of shit he is, requiring an excessive amount of external validation to even feel good about himself. You, despite the billions of comments he probably receives over his mental illness, his stunning and brave choice to abandon his wife and child, your like one little pinprick caused him immense amounts of pain because it surged up what he knows to be true, which is probably why he took the time to attack you.
Oh, and absolutely. I had the biggest smile on my face too when I read it. I was just like, and by the time I wanted to answer back, he had blocked me, like the little puss that he is.
Yeah. So on our channel, on my channel, I don't generally like to well, first I like things to stay where they are and not just fall over the place. Sorry about that, folks, but anyway, I'm glad it wasn't that loud. It was really fucking loud in here. But I don't generally like to call out specific creators by name and that kind of thing, because I don't like to get into the internet drama, put a target on my back or my friends' backs, or, you know, that kind of thing. But in Chris Tyson's case, I will make an exception, because Chris Tyson is a grooming. I'm pretty sure a pedophile, actually. I'm not 100% on that, but we do know that he's admitted to talking to at least 2 minors in a very inappropriate manner. He, by the way, I use he because he is male. I'm not going to say a man, because I don't believe that these are the actions of a man. These are the actions of you know, a predator. You know,
absolutely.
He's insulting the predators. He's a carrion feeder.
Well, that's assuming that he fucks dead children.
Well, that could be an issue with the copyrights and clauses. Terms of service just called and says they want this show back.
Right. Sorry, folks. Didn't mean to go in that direction, but here we are.
My fault. Blame me.
So I don't. I haven't been following as much of that as a lot of other people do, because also as far as like what I actually watch on YouTube and on Rumble and all that stuff, I prefer to stick with things that are either in my wheelhouse or of interest and entertaining to me. So like, for instance, I watch a ton of like movie and music reaction channels because it's fun. I know it's inane. I know most of it's probably fake. That doesn't matter. I enjoy watching them. They're fun. So I end up watching a lot more of that stuff than I do things like Chris Tyson. Although I did start recently following this guy Nux Taku, who's been covering a lot of that shit recently, along with the Boogie for whatever the fuck the number is that comes after his name, stuff over with Keemstar. It was funny because I was on I think Beelzebub a couple weeks ago, and they brought Boogie up, and I was just like, I don't know who that is. And they're just like, how do you not know who Boogie is? And I was like, dude, I barely know who Keemstar is. Like I don't follow a lot of these guys. So but yeah, as far as the whole Chris Tyson thing goes, my question about that is not that he is clearly a bad actor. He's clearly a very vile creature, right? That's not my question. That's not my concern. Obviously steps need to be taken there. My concern is how much did Mr. Beast and his other employees know about this beforehand? Yeah. How much did they help cover up before they had no choice but to throw him under the bus?
Personally, not with Mr. Beast. Personally, I'm of one of two minds when it comes to Jimmy. On one hand, he's legitimately a good human being, and thus I cannot imagine him covering this up. On the other hand, he is a bad human being, but understands his brand, which is the only way he continues to make a living, is of being a generous and good person. And if it came out that he was covering this up, and it would not be a matter of if, but when, it would destroy his brand if he knew. So I from either he's a good person and would turn in a pedo, or he's a selfish person but doesn't want his brand hurt, he would turn in a pedo. Unless I'm shown like a smoking gun, I don't believe he knew. That's my personal stance.
As an observation, whether or not he continues to make money is completely immaterial to his future. He is currently wealthy enough that he could stop tomorrow, purchase an island, and stay there completely with no one bothering him. So I would more inclined to believe that he's more good than bad. I would cover it up to protect the brand if I thought I could make it go away quietly. And when it came out, you just shrug at it and go, yeah, no, I thought he was a good person, and it turns out he's not. My bad. I thought I did good. It wasn't. I'm sorry. And move on with your life, because you cannot satisfy other people.
Yeah. I think he's autistic.
I can see that.
He's really weird. Like when I first started watching him years ago, he has like this awkwardness. He has that, like, what do you call that? The autism when you're awkward.
Spectrum?
Oh gosh. It is a spectrum, but there's like a name for it. When you're like awkward and you have autism, he's just really weird. When it comes to like interacting with people, I don't know if you guys ever noticed that he tends to like look down a lot or somewhere else. Like he doesn't necessarily always look at the person's face, and he's just very odd to me, Mr. Beast. And I'm not saying he's a bad person. Like obviously I don't know him in person and stuff like that. He's done like good things, obviously so, but I just think he's autistic. That's all.
I mean, most Gen Z are,
there may be something to that. There may not. He could just be weird.
Consider
yeah,
this.
I think he's weird. Yeah, Asperger's. I think he has Asperger's or something. He is weird.
Perhaps this other individual, because I'm not going to give them the respect of naming them what they're not. Perhaps this other individual has something more nefarious on Mr. Beast that required him to kind of maintain silence, hold up his end of some unknown bargain.
Yeah, like blackmail.
Yeah, basically. That's where we're at right here, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there was something to that, maybe not. And maybe it was just kind of one of those, it's there, but I don't want to see it, so I'm going to choose not to kind of situations. Because human beings, Terry Pratchett was very on the ball about this kind of thing in his novels. He talks a lot about how people only see what they want to see. Like specifically, he had this passage, I forget which book it's in, where he talks about how rational adult humans see things as they wish them to be, whereas cats, creatures of magical power, and children see things as they are. Kind of thing, you know. So like, you know, grown adults, like we have a tendency to put out of our head things that can't possibly be. And so if you had a friend who was working with you for years and years and years, and it, you know, they're up to some nefarious, awful shit, right? And it's in your periphery. It's not right out in front of you. It's in your periphery, but you know that they're up to something awful, right? But they're your friend and they've been with you for years and years and years, and you don't want that to be true. You're going to make that in your head not true. You know, so there may be something to that too.
You're manually muted.
Toasty. You're muted.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. It happens to me every time. My bad. So
That's what she said.
I was about to say, yeah, you kind of psych yourself out of believing what's true.
Yeah. And I kind of agree with Shock here too, though. He says, no offense, but I'm tired of the autism excuses. I agree.
Use autism as an excuse. They use it as a superpower.
I'm not making, yeah, by no means I'm making an excuse that, you know, I'm not reading. No, I'm not I'm not attaching that to what his friend was doing. I'm just saying, just by looking at his video, he seems kind of fucking weird.
Sure, but there is a trend these days to blame bad behavior on being not right in the fucking head, except that being not right is celebrated. You know, this isn't about any one particular person, but yeah, it does get brought up a lot. It's no different than blaming the fucking dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I have that. I had that actually happen to me at a workplace, and it said person was a stereotypical SJW type, claimed to have autism. Doesn't have autism. I've been around people with autism, never showed any of the symptoms. I'm polite, I'm courteous. She'll say some things that I'm like, okay, you're batshit insane, but I try to get along with you because we're coworkers. Right. Goes on like a 2 to 3 minute scream rant about my religion and how it's evil. In my face.
I've done that. Come on.
And then blames and goes, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean all that. It was just my autism."
No. See that? Okay, I got you there. I got you, because that is the difference between me and this person you're talking about. Because when I scream at you about how I hate your religion, I take full responsibility for my opinions there. You know,
well, you're also even well articulated and educated on the subject. If this was just a whiny person who I imagine doesn't have a good relationship with her family.
Can I also ask you a question? Was this person a white female?
That is accurate. I bet you.
Yeah, no, not like the least oppressed population, and because they have the least struggles, have to manufacture the greatest of struggles.
No, they don't manufacture it. They just adopt struggles from other people so that they can identify as having a struggle.
It's it's so bad. It's so bad.
Clue,
welcome to the LGBT show. Is. Hey, what's up? That's what LGBT is, just a big organization of adopting struggles.
Yep. And I would go back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show here, where I was going on and on about how you can't blame Satan for the actions of evil people, right? You can't fucking blame autism for it either, right? All that is finding a scapegoat, an external thing to put the blame on, so that somebody doesn't have to be held responsible for what they've done. That's it. You know, it's just same shit, different name. So, but yeah, Clue, welcome in. Good to see you.
Yo, I heard about the Mr. Beast thing. I just heard about it. I don't know who he is, but I heard bits and pieces.
Yeah. He got real rich on YouTube, and then he started doing philanthropy shit. So like he ends up, for years, he was putting out these videos where he'd go out and like help people who had real thick cataracts get them removed so they could see proper again and all that stuff. Did a lot of charity work. And these videos ended up putting him in the hole. He actually loses money on doing a lot of this stuff. But, you know, and it was widely considered one of the nicest most charitable people out there, especially out of YouTube, because most of the time when YouTubers get as big as he has, they become dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this man took 6 months out of his life, went to Africa and dug village wells for 500 different
True shock.
locations. And then they demeaned him and damned him for being get this, white savior, for being a white guy going and digging wells.
I absolutely fucking hated that because or when he helped he just gave away that free surgery to those people, like the cataracts thing that Samuel mentioned. And then Sam, am I hold on, I'm gonna put a name in the private chat. Am I allowed to name drop this person?
Hey Samuel.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Can I send you a photo of actually with that what you just mentioned, Sasquatch, with that video of him putting what was it, the wells in Africa and stuff? Yeah. I had commented underneath, and I was one of the comments that had the most likes and stuff because I said exactly what you just said. So I'm just gonna send you the screenshot, Samuel. I don't know if you want to show people the comment I made and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
There is only one concern that I had with that whole fiasco. Nothing about Mr. Beast whatsoever, more about what happens to those regions after he leaves. Because suddenly there's fresh water in places where warlords had control over the water before. Now the water's in the middle of the village. So either the village defends the well or the warlord takes the well and the same situation perpetrates.
Yeah. It's one of those unfortunate, like the same thing, like he built all those houses for people in Africa and then a couple days later they're on listings. But the point I was making is you've got fucking champagne socialists like Hassan Piker, big fucking name. Like they'll look at the philanthropy he does and goes, and they'll use that as, oh, well, this is why the West is evil, because this guy is choosing to spend his wealth to help people. Ignore that I could do the exact same thing, by the way. I'm Hassan
Keep in
Piker.
mind, all of this donating and stuff, yes, he loses money, but every bit of it is a tax write-off everywhere across the board. I mean, all of it. So once you achieve a certain level of wealth, losing money on income is more effective than, you get what I'm saying? If you use it for philanthropy, you get to write off all your taxes if you do it right.
Yeah. Also, it helps because immortality is something we have yet to make the technology for in regards to physiologically. But in regards to your legend, your name, I mean, we still remember Achilles because he did something crazy. Mr. Beast does multiple crazy things. He'll probably be remembered for probably as long.
Here's the thing, though, kid. Achilles isn't remembered for his great feats. He's remembered for his death.
No, he's also remembered for being really fucking tough.
Well,
by your average person.
The only reason he's remembered for his death is because it was so weird. Homie didn't die from being killed by Ajax. He didn't get killed by Myrmidon. He wasn't killed on a battlefield. He was shot in the ankle, and it killed him. That's weird.
Now, if you take into account the mythological stuff that's usually left out about that, Achilles was a demigod. His mother, I think, was Thetis. Yeah. She was one of the sea nymphs who was under Poseidon. And when he was born, she wanted her son to be immortal. And so she dipped him in this pool that made him immortal, but she had to hold him by his ankle, and where her fingers touched his skin was not immortal. And that's how he ended up dying. But that's also how they explained away how he was able to just waltz into a battlefield and kick the shit out of everybody, and come out without a scratch on him, is because he was invulnerable, except for that one spot. And then when somebody found out what that one spot was, and I think it was one of the Amazons, who figured that shit out.
He
elicited
the response from, I believe it was either an Amazon or like a sea nymph or something. I think it was an Amazon, but he went.
Yeah, I think it was Hippolytus. Yeah,
he was one. Just like Helen was one of the most beautiful women in history, Paris was renowned for his beauty on the male side. He seduced the information from this really hot chick. She gave it up.
Yeah. So here's that screenshot, Toasty.
Let's see this. I'm curious what the comment was.
There's no way to satisfy these people. It's never enough. The dude did a great deed, and he's still the villain because of his race. But it isn't racism. No, that's 100%, man.
Yeah. if a white person does anything ever, it's inherently evil.
Yeah, and if they don't give a shit, then they're still evil for not caring. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Still lose.
Yeah. Because it's not a legitimate argument. It's them attempting to seize power. Because if you supplicate to their wishes, they have power over you.
Yeah.
It's Gramsci. It's what Gramsci, or Antonio Gramsci. Hold on, fuck. I'm gonna look up his first name, but it's what Gramsci wrote about.
Right. Well, and it all
Antonio
essentially
Gramsci.
comes down to power on some level. It's always about power. It's always about power over someone else. The way my mother puts it is that there are vertical relationships between people instead of horizontal. And I think she's right. We always find some reason to set ourselves apart and above our neighbors. Doesn't matter what that reason is. The reasons don't matter. The fact is that we choose that. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to expand on this? Who's Eric Brandt?
All right. So back in the early days of YouTube, there was an individual who he was one of like the first dozen or so auditors that went out and cop watched and filmed people in public. He also did, he would do some really wild stuff, but he did it all in public and none of it was illegal. He gets locked up, not for really breaking the law, but because they got him on a like a brand new speech law out. I think it's in like Washington or Oregon or something. He was one of the very early ones that got initially convicted of like a speech hate crime kind of thing, and then because he was suddenly under a felony, and during the time period in which he was doing the appeal, they raided him and found him with a whole bunch of his father's guns, which he was staying in his father's house at the time. This is all really freaking murky on the back end of it. Basically, he was set up in a position where they knew they could pin additional felonies on him, and they went in and charged him for every firearm on the place, confiscated everything, and that stuff sat in court for years and years and years, and he is still in jail today. And I'm not sure if anything ever occurred about appeals or anything like that, but I know they ran the whole freaking railroad over him. Free Eric Brandt. He didn't do nothing but say something. That's all he did. He spoke out loud to a cop on a street corner. That's it.
I hadn't heard about that. I imagine there's a number of stories along those lines that I've never heard.
My local homestead over here, my hometown got audited by a guy a couple of days ago, and I've got the video from the whole thing, and I am not disappointed in the local cops. I'm a little disappointed in the use of language because they brought up the whole sovereign citizen thing, and that's a complete like misinformation thing that's being done to try to conflate First Amendment protections, people who expect First Amendment protections, to being these insane sovereign citizen types. They're not the same. They're completely different things. And auditors are different from cop watchers, and sovereign citizens sometimes film stuff.
Fair enough. I have a bit of a mixed view with auditors. Most of the ones that I've met on YouTube, usually via Caucasian Sasquatch, because you know a lot more of them than I do, have been pretty cool people for the most part. But in my personal experience, because I work in the public sector, right, I find auditors very annoying at work. I find that they get in the way more than they help. And I get what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. I'm not against what they're doing. I just wish that I was not like, one of the people getting filmed just because I happen to be there wearing, with the city. But it is what it is. So they do this thing where they'll show up and they start like filming inside the vehicles of all the vehicles that are in the public parking lot, right? And it's like, some of those are private vehicles, guys. It's like, I know it's on private property or on public property and all that shit, and I know that legally there's nothing we can do about it, but there is like such a thing as
Plainview
being nosy. Yeah, but I mean, there should be some kind of decorum there. Is all I'm saying.
Decorum,
if it
sure,
looks-
but legality, legally speaking, you cannot come and say that this bit of light belongs to you because it bounced out of your car, so you can't trespass my eyes. If you're dumb enough to leave some stuff out where somebody can see it when they walk by your car, that's a you problem. Anyone that wants to can film anything they can see in public, and that's the end of that conversation.
Sure, I'm just saying, like when you talk about legality, like I think that there should be some kind of, like I said, decorum there, some kind of because like legally speaking, man, I can blow the head off of somebody who sleeps with my wife in Wyoming and be fine. Right? We have very old laws out here. You know? Like it's legal. I probably shouldn't do it. I probably shouldn't do it, but it's legal. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about being cordial and genial and nice,
civilized. Yes,
that civilized. Sure. All I'm saying, legally speaking, no one should say anything. You can not like it all you want, but if you go say something about it, you're going to look like a clown, because like on the barest sense, when you want to know if you can film, look straight down at your feet. If your feet are firmly in public and there is no doubt, film whatever you like.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just it is what it is. There was another time, and I think I might have spoken about this on a channel. I was not on the clock. This was not an official me capacity at all, but I was a little irritated with the auditor who showed up. So there was an incident at a local bar involving some family of mine. And some fights, and some people got knocked down really fucking hard. And, the guy who actually started the whole thing by punching a woman in the face. This is Wyoming. This shit does happen. Bar fights out here get a little rough, and they usually start over bullshit. He was off in a nice corner being talked to very politely, whereas the guy who went to their defense and was too drunk to be able to tell friend from foe was the guy who ended up back in the back of the cruiser, right? And so while I was trying to sort that shit out, because the guy in the back of the cruiser was related to somebody, who's very dear to me, and I happen to know all the police because I work directly with them, right? I know most of them on a first name basis here locally. So I'm trying to sort this shit out, and here comes this asshole with a camera, and he just starts filming everybody in the area, and I was like, "Fuck you, dude," So yeah, I guess what I'm saying, Squatch, is that I kind of see both sides.
Okay, and you can see whatever you like when you're in public too. So see it how you will.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, legally speaking, whether or not it's nice, whether or not it's an asshole move, whether or not it makes you a jerk or a joker or some kind of clown or whatever. Personally, I'm more concerned with them being civilized in the doing of their freedoms rather than trying to civilize and chill any aspect of the Constitution.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. I don't know. Auditing is, to be fair though, too, like I don't spend a lot of time watching auditor kind of stuff. I don't watch a lot of arrest videos. I don't watch a lot of that kind of thing. Most of what I've seen from that has either come from you or from Amira, who loves watching that kind of thing from a legal perspective, because she's, that's her field. Right. So she's very interested in, like, especially the sovereign citizen shit, when they get pulled over and they get all like weird and seal up their cars and start pulling fucking paperwork
sovereign
out.
Citizens, these people shouldn't actually exist. I'm not sure how these people come to the conclusions. I've read those books. I spent 4 hours on a live stream with an avowed sovereign who, the thing is, most of them have to have some way by which to interact in the modern world. And so they say they're a sovereign citizen, but their wife is actually the one with all the bills. Right. Something like that. This guy, people from Press Now, I think is the name of the channel. PDF. What's that dude's name? What's that dude's channel's name? Press On, Press Harder, something like that. Anyway, he has no identity. As far as the federal government's concerned, he has transcribed himself from the books, right? That being said, he doesn't own a house. He never goes home. He crashes with subscribers and stuff. He stays wherever he happens to falls down. And as such, he lives the life of being a sovereign man on the land. Most of these clowns are out here trying to drive around in a tractor trailer saying that they don't have to buy a tag. And that's wild to me.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as socialists, communists, Marxists. They don't want to have responsibilities. They don't want to have to actually fit into society, but they want all the benefits of living in a society. It's the same thing with, say, an anarchist. No offense to anyone here who may be an anarchist, but the whole, I don't like the government. I don't like society. I want to do my own thing, but I also want everyone to act as if they're in a society so they don't just come up and kill me and take my stuff. They want all the benefits with none of the drawbacks.
Right.
Because they're children.
They are, in fact, children. Yeah.
Yes.
The whole sovereign citizen, the only reason that even got brought to my attention at all, right, was because of the Darrell Brooks case. That's the only reason I have any idea about what a sovereign citizen is. So, and for context, for those of you who didn't follow that, Darrell Brooks was the man who drove his vehicle through a parade and killed a bunch of kids. And then claimed he was not subject to the law because he was a sovereign citizen.
Yeah, fuck that.
He also said they had it coming because white people are animals. But
wasn't his primary defense not that so much that he was sovereign citizen as it was that he was a traveling Moor? Something like that. There's like a Moorish doctrine out there, and some countries actually kind of let it go because for the most part these people don't really cause problems. They're just going from one place to another as the will of God strikes them, and they don't.
They only tried to breed the Portuguese and the Spanish and the Sicilians out, but whatever. Don't cause problems. So yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
Find your distinction though. When it comes down to it, it's all claws back to Black's Law Dictionary and Admiralty law, and the conventions that established the United States codes of law based off of those previously defined world British and the whole seafair law thing. And that's why these people will talk about they're not driving because they are traveling, because driving implies commerce, it implies business, and it implies that I'm attempting to make money. And so they're not driving, they're traveling. They're just using a car that is unregistered, has no tag, and hasn't been checked out by any inspection anywhere to do it.
Right. So, but point is, the dude was trying to get away with murder. He was trying literal actual murder.
It's several. It was mass murder.
Yeah, vehicular mass murder at that, right? Like intentionally running people down. He was trying to get off scot-free for taking the life from several people and injuring a bunch of other ones. And he claimed to be above the fucking law, And then if I remember right, like most sovereign citizens started misquoting constitutional law as if that would apply to him if he was in fact not a member of the United States.
Do you remember the headline for that story? A van plows into a parade.
Yeah, that damn van. It was the angry van that was angry with those people.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that is a significantly more internally consistent argument than they normally make. Because if it is the van's fault, then at least it fits in with their whole gun control argument angle.
Hey, look, guns don't kill people, vans do.
I do.
Exactly. We should ban the automobiles. It'll fix our obesity problem because people have to walk everywhere.
They're working on that very angle right now. They really want to do that very thing. They want
all these EVs and stuff.
Walking pads.
We can also get rid of the DMV. Okay, now I'm actually sold.
MSK, sorry. MSG. I just compared him to an additive in Chinese food.
I'm still hungry.
Oh, MSG. I love MSG in my food.
MSG's just like addictively flavored salt, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of here. You guys are offending me.
Oh no. Deuces.
It's what we do, baby.
I like it.
Oh, so you're one of those type of people.
Holy shit, Master Swag. That's a good one.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to
Hey,
remember
Master
that for later.
Swag.
So yeah, but
Oh.
I don't know. I guess to tie the sovereign citizen thing in to all the other stuff, it is very much like the people on the left who like to think that they are above the law while still enforcing it. You know,
Yeah.
like they want you
Rules
to definitely be
for
subject to it, but it shouldn't apply to them.
Yeah.
You know. And again, I've been saying this for a while now too. I just reiterated it the other day on a Twix post, which I admit I'm fully aware that just putting something out on Twix doesn't actually mean a goddamn thing. It's just it's just a fucking glorified message board, really. But yeah, anybody, and I do mean anyone who says they want to reduce carbon wants you dead. Keep that in mind at all times. All times.
That's the truth. That's fact.
Nothing but facts.
Believe that you are the source of the carbon that they want to get rid of. Not the things that you do, but your physical anatomy would make the difference.
Mm-hmm. I saw this thing the other day where Bill Gates was involved with a group of people who were trying to quote unquote fix carbon emissions in the air by chopping fucking trees down and burying them. Not, because obviously you can't let people burn them because that would create more fucking carbon monoxide actually. But, it makes no sense because yes, trees don't produce carbon dioxide. For everybody out there, this is basic science. Plants do not produce carbon dioxide.
Oxygen.
Animals do. Plants produce oxygen because they ingest or breathe in carbon dioxide, which is exhaled by animals. We need each other to survive. Like this is basic science. Right now, the carbon content in the atmosphere, right? The thing they want to reduce is at like I want to say 0.04, 0.03%. If it drops to 0.02%, we are going to start suffocating.
So Sam, what you're saying is
You
kick
heard
off
about
the
the oxygen
Indochinal War.
rocks?
Okay, one at a time.
Sorry, I'll let Squad speak.
Have you heard about the oxygen rocks?
No.
No.
So apparently, and I haven't looked very far into it because it just broke like yesterday or the day before. They have found these metallic geode type things that are apparently spewed out of the mid-ocean rifts occasionally. And these things in their natural state and arrangement electrolyze water, releasing hydrogen and oxygen, just sitting there doing nothing. They do this.
That's
I'm
awesome.
not sure why. I don't know how, but the conversation that's going around on all the social media sites that currently are about the oxygens that these things release. That's not the important part. If we can figure out how to use these things to make hydrogen, it's on like Donkey Kong. We don't need the oxygen. We need hydrogen. The oxygen.
Hydrogen as fuel.
I mean, yeah, you can use hydrogen as fuel. Sure. Yeah, it's a very reactive element.
The issue is
it's in fact what powers the star that we orbit.
I got a question for us, Sam. Where's the nitrogen coming from? Because we need the nitrogen too to live.
Yeah.
What produces the nitrogen?
Kind of funny that you mention it because our actual atmospheric content, people always talk about we need oxygen to survive. This is true, but not in its purest form because too much oxygen causes hyperoxia, which is while not lethal, not good for you. So we actually have like about a 78% nitrogen ratio with like 20% oxygen, give or take, and then all the other elements like argon and helium and hydrogen and that sort of thing mixed in. So we actually breathe more nitrogen than we do oxygen, but it's the oxygen that keeps us alive kind of thing. But it's got to be in that specific ratio for us to maintain, I guess, health as it were.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting that you bring that up, because one of the theories, and I do stress here theories, of the great mass extinction of prehistoric life, like dinosaurs and shit, was that they were in fact breathing a different chemical composite than we are, and that when the atmosphere started producing and hosting more oxygen, that it actually poisoned them. But it didn't poison the small mammals, who were, short-lived enough to adapt faster.
Yeah, but see, gays are a different species, so they need semen to live instead.
No, I was gonna
wow,
bring
that
up,
was a left
I
turn.
didn't know that. I didn't know
I
that.
was actually going to bring up, where does zinc fit into this?
Zinc is
In your
good for you.
snack.
It's good for your skin. It's good for your hair.
It's actually look at this. I mean,
It's a
wait,
treat.
what
It's
was
a treatment for the political flu.
Mm. Maybe that's why
Is
I'm
that
here.
why Heels Up Harris seems so healthy all the time? So
Bruh.
extra zinc.
Bruh.
All right, I'll stop. Look,
That
I
chick
made
cannot
I made
possibly
this.
be getting in there. I know they planning something, another cheat. I know they're doing it.
Yes,
no
they
way.
Are. They are doing. They're not even hiding it, Clue.
Oh, they don't hide stuff anymore.
They're actively doing it right now. They are cheating their own constituents right now, and then they're going to cheat everybody else down the road. But and this is kind of what I was getting at. That would probably be there may be other jokes about Kamala Harris, because first of all, she's very joke worthy. Secondly, she does sound like Ed the Hyena from The Lion King half the time.
Thank you.
Oh, poor
And then
Ed.
and third, we do know that she slept her way into power. However, these things are not important to the issue. These are not what we should be focusing on just because she's an extremely dislikable person. Look at her record in public office. Look at what she's saying she wants to do now. The woman is a full-on Marxist, and she answers to other full-on Marxists. She is bad for this country. We should be complaining about her policies, not how much dick she sucked.
She locked a lot of people up. A lot of people up.
Didn't she also use them as effectively slave labor as well?
Yes.
Could you imagine all the strains of HPV she has? She'll probably get throat cancer in the future or something.
That only
For other
happens to
reasons.
Michael Douglas.
That's concerning.
What about Michael Douglas? Did you hear about that?
I
shit?
know what
You got-
what Toasty said.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's wrong with Michael Douglas?
He got throat cancer from going down on his wife, who was apparently fairly promiscuous in the past. That last part is alleged. I don't know for a fact that Catherine Zeta-Jones was sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that came her way. That may be totally untrue. What I do know is that whatever HPV she did carry, because it really only takes the one fucking partner to catch the shit, right?
Yeah.
You can also be born with it. If your mother has it, it can transfer over to you in the womb. So there could have been any number of reasons why she had it. It doesn't really matter. The point is by going down on his wife, like a man should, by the way.
What the hell,
ends up
Sam?
getting smited by God
That part I might
himself.
disagree.
No, Sam. No,
That's
I was with
questionable,
you
Sam.
until that. No.
Yeah. What does the woman get any sort of? I'm not going to actually finish that joke.
See, this is why I'm not a Christian. You guys don't have any fun.
No, we have plenty of fun. It's just you guys
You
get
don't
mad
know
at
what
us.
fun is.
No, we have plenty of fun. You could we went when we went to the Baltic. We had like a great time in the Baltic. We had a great time in Iberia. We had a great time in the Levant. But people get mad at us. We had like
Hey,
big vacation.
Nobody
trips.
expects the Spanish Inquisition, bro.
You got
No
throat
one expects
cancer.
what happened to the Second Crusade to happen to the Second Crusade. It was
Yeah.
a shit show.
You got throat cancer from the one service that women would pay men for. That's just,
Yeah. HPV is actually very, 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 very common. I think like 90%
Mhm.
people have it.
People who are sexually active, yeah.
Mhm.
So is herpes. So herpes has like I think something
80%.
like 80% of all people who are
Mhm.
sexually active carry some form of herpes, whether they're asymptomatic or not.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. HPV can cause things like cancer. Unfortunately, it is the worst disease. It causes cancer in women. It can cause infertility, among other things. Can really fuck up the plumbing. Herpes is unpleasant, and it is unfortunately incurable, but it's also relatively harmless for a disease. You know, it spreads like the dickens, but it's not. Nobody's dying because of herpes.
Unless you're a newborn baby, but that's because that's why you
Sure,
shouldn't
but they
kiss
have no immune
babies.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But as an adult, it really won't do much.
It's killing
the
your
w-
soul.
The worst part, it might turn to shingles.
fuck?
That's what shingles kind of is herpes, but like
Shingle, kind of. Well, that's just because there are several different viruses that are in the herpes family. One of those viruses is the one that causes chickenpox, which is generally what causes shingles later. If you've had chickenpox, chances are at some point you're going to develop shingles because you don't ever get rid of the virus. It just no longer affects you.
doormats.
In terms of like the
Wild
chickenpox.
part of virology. The way chickenpox has gotten over, you don't get over chickenpox. You take the virus into your cell, it nips its way into your actual DNA, and then later in life produces a slightly different variant of the chicken's pox protein that causes shingles. Usually it starts from the central nerve and works its way around to your larger nerves in your fingers and stuff. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. However, you can survive shingles. It's not necessarily like it's not going to necessarily cripple you or be a life sentence. Some people don't react to it as well as others do. There are people who have been seriously fucking hurt by it, but there are also people who've had it 4 or 5 fucking times and they're fine. It's a bit of a crapshoot, really. How good's your immune system?
Right.
So, but yeah, cold sores are a form of herpes that may or may not have anything to do with sex, and transmission of fluids. There's like you could share a cigarette with somebody. If they've got an active cold sore, you're going to get herpes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or drink out of the same glass or share a fork or whatever, or that kind of thing. I knew a guy one time who ended up with the cold sore oral form of herpes from a dirty fucking fork at a restaurant in Las Vegas. Like the dishwashers hadn't cleaned the fork thoroughly, and then they gave it to him to eat his fucking meal with, and he had, of course, no idea that it was
that poor fork.
There really wasn't.
It's Vegas. The city of sin. I wouldn't be surprised if someone fucked that fork.
All it takes is somebody to eat off the fork who has the virus, man. That's it.
I like my theory better. Also, Sam,
Well,
if Amira asks for a sit, if Amira asks for a sit,
give it to him, Sam. Let him have this one. Let him have this one, man.
If Amira asks me about my for a sit rep on my current marching orders, I'll tell her that it's your fault that I have continued to fail her primary objective that I've been given.
Yeah. Okay. Just
This
find yourself
conversation
a nice
specifically.
clean, a nice clean, Aryan virgin, and you'll be all right. Most probably, I mean, there's always a chance. Always a chance. That's part of being alive, man. Is taking risks.
Concern.
Look, you're gonna have to take a risk sooner or later, or don't live a very boring life.
I was making a joke.
Yeah.
I was tossing all of my failings upon you as opposed to taking responsibility for them, like a good Gen Z, like a good Zoomer.
Do I look like Satan to you?
Close enough.
I refuse to answer.
Oh my god! How old are you?
Me?
That's why I call it
you.
Take a guess.
25.
Nah,
lower.
Not yet.
Wait. What you said? Younger than that or older than that?
Younger.
21.
Oh,
Freshly
so is it like 19 maybe?
No,
he's 21, but like
21. Okay.
Yeah, I turned 21 in May.
I feel old.
I do that to people.
That's why I call him Egg.
See, I'm really glad I'm not a femboy, because if I was, that would insinuate he's trying to make me trans.
I thought it was because he came in front of a chicken.
You'd be protected. You would be protected if you were.
Yeah, you would have that shield.
I don't want that shield, though, because that comes with certain liberal ideas that I don't ascribe to.
Yeah. Ass forks. Yeah, we could go with ass fork. I mean, how else are you supposed to eat ass, right? Get a fork, get a spoon, get something. Don't be an animal about it.
To quote you, blood is an effective lubricant.
Well, it is. Like, look, I don't make up the rules, dude. It is.
Or a bit, but not long.
I guess anything liquid.
That's got to have the right viscosity. Certain liquids, so they create more friction than not. But yeah, the blood is a very effective lubricant. Just, I mean, watch any given slasher movie. Somebody always walks into a room where there's a corpse and there's blood all over the floor, and they fucking slip on the blood. Right? That's viscosity. In action. Yeah, Matthew Anderson. My apologies about that. Yeah, water's not a good lube. Water has not good viscosity. It's not great for that. Like people who go around saying, "Oh yeah, well, have sex in the pool or shower," I think they're fucking nuts.
Well, unless it's water, and then it's possible.
Yeah, it's not jelly enough. Like it's just water.
I use sand personally.
Oh.
Sorry.
Just in Vaseline. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request that each of you in chat go to your phone, click share on whatever chat you happen to be in, and share this to your most demented group chat that you're a part of. I want to be in those Reddit threads. I want to be down in the deepest, darkest corners of your phone. I want you to go find that guy that you haven't talked to since high school and share it to them with no explanation. Thank you.
All right. I'm posting this in the most degenerate chat I have access to. There we go. I just did it.
This means you.
Oh, you little cocksucker. So Shadow, for those of you who were in the chats out there, he posted that in the SITV private group chat, which is funny because, well, this is SITV. That is cute. It's funny. It's I'll kick you in the nuts after the show. It'll be fine. Yeah.
It's not a lie. It is absolutely not a lie.
I'm the most degenerate. Well, you're not in any of the chats with Dermy, so yeah.
I am actually. I am.
You're in a Dermy chat. You live
I'm
in a couple of Dermy chats.
Dermy's in Wrong Think, right?
He is in Wrong Think. There are others. There are much worse ones. The BB chat is much worse.
I am so glad that I am not in any of those chats.
Dude, he had to Dermy's got a Discord, right? And he had to go set up an entire sub room in his Discord called Cloud's Corner because Cloud wouldn't stop posting like fucking cat girl anime porn.
See, I know a dude who does that, but worse because he makes it himself using AI.
Yeah.
You may have seen.
Does he use himself as a model?
I don't think so. It's Ravelek. I think you've talked with him once or twice on Twitter, mostly because of me.
Yeah, I'm aware of who Ravelek is. Ravelek is dirty.
Are you gonna eat that?
Is that a gerbil? Is that a gerbil?
Yeah, it's a hamster.
Oh, it's a hamster.
Yeah, his name is Possum.
But are you gonna eat it?
No. I'm gonna eat my little buddy.
Can I eat it?
No.
Why would you, Squatch? Why would you want to eat that? That thing's only got like maybe 200 calories.
You think you a little bit of barbecue sauce
more calories.
You just roll it real slow over a gas flame while you do to taste just like squirrel.
You could eat anything else. You want to eat this little puny thing?
Are you busy?
I mean, it's good for a sandwich, right?
Yeah, but I would understand if you're like in the middle of nowhere, like naked and afraid and shit. But
Oh no. You, let me let you know where you're at. I will eat anything that moves around and had a soul.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there are times where I'll wake up. I'll wake up and I'll just see like a bunch of fucking tendrils coming out of eldritch portals in my roof. And then like a bunch of forks and knives follow them back up into the portals. I don't sleep very well because I know Sam's watching.
It's also why he doesn't have any pets.
No, we actually have two. What did you
Those people in the basement don't count, Shadow.
I don't keep. Listen, I understand some
He's an
people say
addict,
they're
man.
people now. That there are people who say they're people now. I personally don't ascribe to that line of logic. Communists aren't people.
Mm-mm.
No, pets aren't children. You know,
No.
I do take issue with that too. You get all these like peated loving types coming out and being like, oh, I'm a fur mommy or a fur daddy, and I've got my little fur babies here. They're not your fucking children. They're not even your same species.
Nope.
You know,
And if you treat them like that, they'll disrespect the hell out of you and fuck shit up in your house.
Look, pets serve a purpose, right? Companionship. That's a purpose that they serve. I'm good with that, right? In all other cases, animals serve a purpose. They are either used as beasts of burden, right? Sometimes we test the shit out of them with fucking chemicals we probably shouldn't be putting in anything that lives. I mean, it's a nefarious purpose, but it's still a purpose. Or we eat them.
Use my dog like a gun. You don't got to use it, but it's better to have it than not have it, right?
Still a purpose.
So I don't understand having little tiny dogs. My dog can stand.
I can't stand the motherfuckers, man.
I love them. They're my favorite.
The rationalization behind those tiny dogs is you want an
Those
animal
yappers.
They're
you want an
so
animal
cute.
that is capable of loving you and cherishing you that is cat-sized. So you make
But not a
pamper
cat.
dogs.
Because
not a
cats
cat.
obviously are not capable of those things.
Yeah. See, there's two types of
Gal would kill me if she heard me say that. But
dog
yes.
is when you come home
Cats
from
are-
work and you look at a cat looks at you look at a dog looks at you and says, he feeds me, he keeps me warm, he rubs my belly, he must be a god. When you come home and look at a cat, the cat says, he feeds me, he rubs my belly, he keeps me warm, I must be a god.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's facts. That is facts.
Because cats are bastards. All cats are bastards.
All cats are bastards.
I don't like their
Without exception.
attitudes. Yeah. I'm not a fan of cats at all. I prefer
A
hamsters.
cat will come by your house every day because you feed them good food. But your neighbor feeds better food, they're gonna be like, "Fuck you," and never come
Not
back.
only that, when you die and you're alone, they start with your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out, Suka. I haven't seen that yet. I'm not wrong, but Hannah and I are gonna
I
disagree
totally
on that.
believe that. She loves that El Gato.
What is this I'm bringing up here?
This is why Sam really does not like cats. It's actually an excuse.
Well, if I was at all Asian, that would make sense, but I'm not.
They eat
Dude,
cats, though.
look, Asians eat cats. I don't eat cats. You know why I don't eat cats? Because there's no meat on a cat. It's all fucking sinew and bone.
Didn't we just talk
Right.
about
I don't know.
cat
you've eaten
eating?
snakes.
Bro,
Snakes have meat on them. They're almost 90% muscle.
but bro, you've got a nice rack for an Asian.
I know, right? My ass is flat as a board, though.
Mm,
For context,
That's
I'm
a
not
move.
Asian, not even a little bit, but my ass is shaped
He's Indian, though.
nice. To a degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the pictures lie. Pictures lie all the time. Let me show you a little something about pictures there, Aaron Laura. Give me just a second. We're gonna edit the avatar here.
Snake of the devil.
Boom! Now I'm a black woman.
With
That
a nice
was a-
rack again. I
With
think
a
Oh,
nice
wow.
rack?
you than
Got
it
a
does.
nice
Look at
rack.
that. I was about to say the same thing. Look at that rack.
Well, I mean, if I'm gonna be looking at pictures of myself as a woman, I might as well have something to look at, right?
He's an eldritch of color.
Right? Yeah. Now I'm a body positive black woman.
Now you're
So
talking
yeah,
about
pictures don't mean shit. They used to. They used to be something that you couldn't fake, but now, even the White House is putting out cheap fakes and saying that they're real. So it is what it is.
Hey, do you think that guy that's called himself president, you think he's alive?
Did you
You're
see
talking
the
about the
video of
Are
him
you-
walking with his wife where he's like 6'7"?
Yeah. How to? Yeah.
That was wild, dude. Why?
Wait,
How?
are we talking about the sitting? Are we talking about the sitting president or the former vice
The
president?
sitting president, the current president in chief.
Why are we talking about
Yeah.
Trump?
Why aren't we talking about Trump? Because he
Why are we
wasn't.
talking about? See, some people view him as the former president. Some people view him as the sitting president. I see him as the sitting
He's
president.
talking. Yeah,
I
he's talking
see
about the
Kanye
fraud.
West as the sitting president.
He's referring
Hey,
to
Anna.
the fraud of 2020.
Yeah, but Biden is the former vice president.
If you believe the 2020 election was stolen, then you probably are at least agreeable to the idea that the 2016 election was bought or stolen, which means that Kanye West was the last duly elected president of the United States. He
I
got
believe
48
I'm okay with that.
legitimate votes, and
I'm-
I guarantee you every
I'm
single
not. I'm
one
not.
was
No,
legitimate.
don't
I'm
give
okay.
Kanye power.
Better than Biden.
Don't give
Who would
Kanye
have done a
power.
better
No,
job than
see,
Biden?
I would take Biden over Kanye because Biden has Alzheimer's. Kanye has bipolar.
I'm just gonna put this out there. I'd be okay with Kanye West as president as long as Nick Fuentes is nowhere near his cabinet.
Good old Nick F.
Oh man,
You know.
isn't it true he dates an Asian chick even though he's a white supremacist?
I don't care. It might be. I don't know. He's Nick Fuentes is a bit of a conundrum. He's another one of those guys that I don't mind necessarily talking about because I think in a lot of ways he's one of those dudes who mixes truth with lies. You know, there are some things he points out. There is some merit to that, but the way he frames it, I don't know if I agree with. So here's the thing, right? I hang out with all kinds of different people, right? I hang
Thank
out
you.
with
Appreciate that.
you know, yes. Like for instance, my token black friend here on the panel.
Amen.
You know,
Token.
I
Even
hang out with people who
Hispanics?
belong. Oh yeah. You know, I hang out with people of all different stripes, all different nations, all different religions, you know, kind of thing. And you know, and I get along with most of them just fine, right? I hang out with Jews, I hang out with Muslims, I hang out with Christians. I am none of those things, right? I do not have problems with this is where it gets to me, right? When you lump all of a group into a single category, the whole, like, you remember back when people were saying black people aren't a monolith not that long ago, right? That's true. They're not, right? But here we are treating other groups of people like they are. For instance, and I'm just going to say it, YouTube, so buckle the fuck up, Jews. Right? Nick Fuentes treats all Jews as a monolith. Now, he will put out his little disclaimers and shit, but he is not being honest with you when he says these things. When he talks about Israel, he's also talking about American Jews. He's talking about German Jews. He's talking about Polish Jews, Russian Jews. You know, he's talking about Jews all over the world because it's in his mind, they're all the same. And this is categorically unfucking true.
Right.
If you cannot
Prager and
take people,
Soros are two totally different dudes. Prager can't
Very
stand
much so.
Soros. He says it on every episode of his radio podcast, of his radio show.
as far as I can tell, and I don't agree with everything Prager says either, but as far as I can tell, Prager is genuinely trying to act in good faith. Whereas George Soros, who is an admitted Nazi fucking collaborator in his youth, has admittedly tried to topple the economies of multiple nations and is now working to topple our own. Right?
And you know how
Has-
he's
has
doing it,
admittedly-
ladies and gentlemen? This is a very simple plan. It's amazing. He influences local elections by simply donating more through proxy donations than you could possibly do in a grassroots movement locally. And so the Soros candidates always have better PR, better ad revenue, better coverage. And so you don't hear about the other candidates as much. And so you just unthinkingly
Right.
go in and vote for the one you remember the name of.
Well, that's what this is what I'm getting at with Fuentes, though. This is like, you know, they're all Jews, so they're all bad. And it's like, no, they're not all bad. They're people, same as everybody else. I realize that there are some of them who are bad fucking people. I know there are some of them who believe that all other people should be wiped off the face of the earth. They do exist. They are out there. They are not representative of the entire ethnicity, of the entire religion. That is not the case. Take Muslims, for example. Muslims represent almost 2 billion fucking people. That's a quarter of the world's population, right? And it's growing. Now, only about 5% of those guys actually put on fucking suicide vests and blow people up. I mean, granted, that's still 50 million terrorists, but
That's a lot of people. I thought you were going to say 0.05.
It is a lot of people, but it's still not representative of the entire fucking group. There are a lot of Muslims who don't blow people up. There are a lot of Muslims who have a real fucking problem with murder. You know, so like we can't just go around saying like, oh well, you know. So when I talk about it, so I don't get too much into this because as far as I'm concerned, the whole Israel-Palestine thing, we did kind of get into it around October 7th. A lot of fucked up shit happened since then. I've seen way too many pictures of dead kids on both sides. I am sick to fucking death of it. I do not care about Israel. I do not care about Palestine. Whatever they want to do to each other, they've been doing to each other for fucking ever. I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear about it. It's not my problem. It's not my fucking country's problem. We don't need to be involved in any fucking way. But when I criticize Israel or the IDF or Netanyahu or any of those things, that does not mean that I am criticizing Jews. Right. Any more than when I criticize the CCP, that does not mean that I am criticizing Chinese peasants. They are not the same. Netanyahu does not represent every Jew on earth. The CCP does, like Xi Jinping does not represent every fucking patty rice farmer. Right. They are not the same. You cannot lump them all together. It's like when people talk about Americans, they're just like, oh, Americans are all loud assholes. No, we're not. I'm being one right now, sure. But we're not all loud assholes. We're not all the same. If you go to Minnesota versus Arizona versus New York versus like Florida, you are going to find groups of very fucking different people, all of whom are actual real and whole individuals. That's how we have to approach the world. When you meet somebody, you treat them based on what they represent, who and what they are, what their actions say about them. You don't judge them. I mean, what was that thing that Martin Luther King Jr. said?
Judge a
the
man
whole
by
thing
the
about
strength of his character, not by the color of his skin.
Exactly. I don't care if somebody's Jewish. I care if somebody's evil. And there is a difference. Evil is entirely within your control. Being born Jewish isn't. That shouldn't matter to any of us. Being born black isn't within your control. Whether or not you were going around shooting up fucking neighborhoods is. Or in the case of General Barbecue down in Haiti, hacking people up.
What are
and
you
eating them in
trying
the
to
streets.
say, Samuel?
I'm saying some people are bad and some people are good, and their ethnicity has no bearing on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know?
What he's
I might
saying
be
is
with
the
Sue on
determinant
this
is
one.
religion. He's saying that religion is how you identify whether or not someone is evil.
That's not what I said either. You twisted my words
Oh,
again.
and I-
Just like a
Nah, that's
Christian.
not true.
Fuck you.
I misunderstood what he said. Sorry, that's my bad.
That's just
So
the
I'll get off
millennial
my rant
um,
here, but yeah, that's
communication break.
You don't need to get off it.
no. I'm one of the good ones.
Heard that before.
I mean, when it comes to sacrifices, he does chickens and whatnot, but it's at KFC and
In churches.
it's not even unusual
Popeyes.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
As a person, he's a good one. As a pagan, he consorts with one too many Christians.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a pretty shitty pagan.
Well, there's nothing in paganism saying you can't associate with Christians. There are
No.
things in Christianity that say you shouldn't associate with pagans. So who's really the bad religious individual here?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a corrupting
Pagans,
influence. And
objectively.
I can blame all your bullshit on to tie it back to the
I'm
initial
gonna-
topic.
I'm gonna say pagans because they did a little thing called Pearl Harbor. So I mean Ethendon. I meant Ethendon. That's what I meant, not Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any like serious rebuttals to anything I just said, though. I know I kind of like exploded a little bit there, and my apologies for that. But it's soapbox
That's
Saturday.
why we're
What do you
here,
want?
for the Samuel explosion. We love it.
Yeah. The
I was
one
just
thing I
hoping
would
it would
say.
all over our face.
The one thing I would say, not necessarily as a rebuttal, but is, I mean, humans are capable of identifying patterns. Like it's how we know that bit of grass is actually a lion, not a bit of grass. So
Mhm.
there are instances where you can look at someone based off their garb, their general appearance, how they carry themselves to determine that that's foe, and sometimes that could be related to culture. Like for instance, if you see a Aztec guy walking up to you with a fucking skinning knife, you probably can assume that he's trying to skin you, not try to be your friend.
Well,
That
if
is an
you see
extreme
Aztec
example.
guy walking up to you,
That depends. Is the knife bloody already?
Let's go with no in this instance.
Then yeah, he's probably gonna use it on you. The whole skinning
Yeah.
thing was not like the worst thing that they did. It wasn't even like the only thing that they did. Kids just focused on that because he read one fucking story.
No, I read
So-
I read multiple stories.
They made
Yeah,
the
but-
disposal of enemies a work of art. It was a performative function. It was not something they did and showed people. It was something they did in front of crowds like a rock band.
Yeah. Actually, this brings up an interesting point I was talking about with my mother earlier on the phone, where I was talking about true believers, right? And the difference between the men at the top who make the rules, who are keeping things from the people down at the bottom, right? The people who are after ecumenical power and politics rather than actually, like, being the heads of their religions and serving people earnestly, that kind of thing, which has occurred all over the place. But one of the, aside from the Catholics, which I did bring up repeatedly, one of the other standouts of that would have been the Aztecs, because the priests basically ran that empire. The emperor himself was not actually in charge of fucking anything. He was just a puppet. He was there. The priests were the real power. They were always the real power. And I doubt that they believed in much of anything but power. However, all of those people down on the ground cheering on the sacrifice when they cut the hearts out and fed them to the sun god, all of those people down on the ground were convinced and believed that if that heart did not go to that god, the sun would not rise the next day. They believe it, right? Which is why they were able to go along with some of this stuff. And eventually it became a very bloodthirsty culture anyway. I mean, they played a form of soccer, basketball with human heads, but it was a thing
human
that
head
they
bounce?
believed. Not very well. That's why it was a hard game to play. No. Anyway, but they really believed. They really believed, and to tie this into more recent times, I guess. If you take the Inquisition, right? Torquemada, the head of the Spanish Inquisition, was probably not a true believer. He believed in power, right? However, and some of the torturers he had working under him, who were ripping people apart to quote unquote save their souls or whatever, probably were in it because they were sadists, because they enjoyed inflicting pain, right? Good chance that a bunch of those guys were, but I guarantee you that there were people in there who were cutting others to ribbons, who genuinely believed that by doing so, by inflicting this horrific torment and death on people, that they were in fact saving their souls. They believed it.
Yeah.
Right? They were stupid and wrong, but they believed it.
I mean, these were the same people who thought that if you picked up a sword, died to a Turkish arrow trying to get back a city in the middle of nowhere, that you would actually be absolved from the fact that you fucked your brother's cousin's sister's husband as a man.
All right. So next time you do a Crusaders reference, I want you to explain that it's a Crusaders reference before you go into it.
I was holding up a book labeled Crusades.
We can't see the title, dude. The glare is all over
There's a
that.
glare.
There's
All
nothing
right.
I can do about that. That's my old freaking.
Yeah, we know.
Light.
No, that's
Yeah,
that's one of the things about holding shit up on fucking screen like that. You're gonna get a glare. It's no way around that.
Is that better?
Aw, thank you,
Yeah.
Anna. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah. Anna's sweet. Anna's nice.
I think she followed me
And-
on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's
What
good people.
What?
So yeah, and it's good people. I've known Anna for a little while. She's really cool.
Yeah, wait,
she
I thought you
disagrees with
deleted
me
her
on
Twitter.
small animals being food, but
No, we have to protect small animals.
for dinner.
No.
Not small dogs. They can go to hell.
I mean, it
Now,
depends on the kind of small animal.
I can't
There are-
listen. I can't handle a big dog. I mean, even
Well,
like,
get a medium dog.
mm-mm.
Get a Turkish Boss Shepherd.
I like my little
As long-
dogs.
I have a
As long
mastiff.
as it's not a Shih Tzu or a Chihuahua, which were actually bred to be eaten.
I was planning on getting a long hair Chihuahua.
Oh, you're
What
one of
the
those.
hell?
Yeah, no,
You're
she's
gonna have
one
to
of
shave it.
she likes to be abused in her life by just the average things. I bet she uses a left-handed can opener just because it's different.
I don't know too many lefties who use left-handed can openers. Those things are rough.
Right?
I'm a righty.
I found a left-handed can opener and I bought it just so a left-handed person couldn't have it.
Oh my
That's
god!
fucked up.
Wow.
Ned Flanders would be pissed if you said
Like,
that.
fuck you, Southpaw.
Also, it's tons of fun to watch people in the kitchen when they go to get a can opener and they grab it and they sit there for a second staring at it, trying to figure out how to make this thing go on there, holding it in their right hand, going, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I think your can opener is broken. Nope, it's just you, bud.
Oh man, I love doing shit like that too. So I come from a family where people are like we've got a pretty even mix of left-handers and right-handers, and even a couple of ambidextrous people. My mother is a left-hander, and she's one of those people who goes around saying that left-handed people are the only people in their right minds because A, there is a correlation between the left side of the body and the right side of the brain, and vice versa, and B, because she thinks it's fucking funny to say that to people who are right-handed.
It is true though. So
I didn't say it wasn't true. I just said, I mean, you might be in your left brain, but you're still batshit. That's all I'm saying. No, you're right brain or whatever. So now it's I just like to give I like to give lefties shit because I grew up around lefties my whole time. So sitting next to one at the table when they're on my right is very difficult to eat because we're always smacking elbows. Yeah.
Try to stab them with my fork and see if they can defend it with their left hand.
Right. And I don't actually have anything against them. I just think it's fun to fuck with them a little bit. Yeah, ambidextards.
Actually, I know this chick. She's ambidextrous, and she became a hairdresser, right? And it is really unnerving to have somebody sitting there working on your hair and watch them switch hands with the scissors and keep going and never break stride, because when someone puts something in their left hand, you expect them to stop. And it's like, no, she's ambidextrous. Okay.
I know something you don't know. Well, what's that? I am not left-handed.
That's a scary oof moment.
Princess Bride. For those of you who actually have seen the movie.
Best movie ever. Best movie ever.
Seen that movie.
It's
really pretty good. I think you'd like it.
The most quotable movie ever.
No,
it's all about good versus evil.
The quotable movie ever is Blazing Saddles.
Where the white women at?
Exactly.
How did I know Shadu was going to pick that one?
How you doing in the TV world?
Because I am a racist, sexist, fascist. Wait, no, I'm not a socialist. I'm a racist, sexist, authoritarian.
Are you out of your mind? Can't you see that this man is a...
Yeah, we pretty near lost a $400 hand card.
Right. Candy Graham from Mongo. Yeah. What was that? That other one? It's like, man, they are so dumb. Yeah, like back off or the. Well, I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it. So here's the thing. And Toasty, you're new to the channel, so you probably don't know this yet, but I do believe in free speech. I believe that people should be able to say whatever it is that comes off of, I do believe in that very much. There are certain words that I don't use because I find them distasteful, but it isn't because I don't believe other people can say them. I'm not against other people saying them. I just personally don't like to use them myself. The much vaunted N-word being one of those words. I heard it tons of coming up from my dad and a bunch of his friends who were all white bikers growing up and stuff like that. And I just never really got along with that, And when I got older and I started getting around people who weren't necessarily white and shit, I just started realizing what I was saying earlier about judging people on who they are and not who they're with or who they look like was the way to go and all that. It's kind of amazing I didn't turn out a racist considering I was surrounded by so fucking many of them when I was young.
Not really. There's a tendency of children to go the opposite way of parents if parents are overbearing with their beliefs. And so that's why you have a lot of these liberal people coming out, into college currently, because they were raised on like very conservative farms and they ran away from home to get away from the oppression as they perceived it. And they go to college where they're told, yes, you're right, you were oppressed.
Does that mean there would be a rebellion against college?
Yes.
No,
the parents were raised with liberal values, and they're going to be searching for conservatism.
Yes,
that's
there is
some of that now.
I personally. Oh, go ahead.
There's more to it than that. You see, there are two sides of this conversation, and only one side can reproduce naturally.
That's true.
I like that.
So, regardless of what their plan is, it involves recruiting your children. People, protect your children.
Yep. They cannot in order to ensure that they have an organization 100 years from now, they have to get your kids because they can't do it themselves.
So I saw this post from Deb Philman earlier on Twitter today, where she was talking about, like, she was listing off things like, or no, she was quote tweeting another one which said, parents in the 90s or conservatives in the 90s, Satanists are coming for your kids, and then in the 2000s, the gays are coming for your kids, and now the trans are coming for your kids, and then today Satanists are coming for your kids again, which is, you know, fairly accurate and all that stuff. But she takes it and she's like, no, they just got the labels wrong. It's Marxists are coming for your kids, present tense, and always have been. You know, none of these labels mean a damn thing. Those are just tools. Right. You know, feminism, modern feminism is actually, I would go so far back as to say the suffragette movement in the United States has always been a tool of collectivists, of globalists. Right.
Yep.
All of this bullshit can effectively be tied back to liberal values, like, say, Rousseau, the general idea that, like, effectively do as thou wilt, do what you want. Feminism, pride, Marxism, Satanism, it all comes down to you not having to do what the rest of society wants, on paper at least. Obviously, the actual execution of these
actual
ideas
thing is you're going to do what we say, or you're going to end up in a fucking pit that you're digging for everybody else.
Yep.
But the written pieces of paper being used by the people attempting to seize power basically goes, you get to do whatever you want, and anything telling you that you cannot do whatever you want, no matter how evil, no matter how heinous, no matter if it hurts someone else, you should be allowed. If you cannot do whatever the fuck you want, you are enslaved to something, and you must break your chains and do whatever you want. And that is why you have all of this just vile, degenerate bullshit happening, because it's the fact that they can do it. They want the absolute freedom to show that they can do it. At least
I think
that's my
this comes down to not recognizing the benefits of delayed gratification. They want it all. They want it now.
Yeah.
And they're not going to listen.
On demand. Yep.
Different. On demand immediately.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out.
Okay, no problem.
You know what? I woke up so early today, and I'm just like this. I'm like, I feel like a zombie right now. I need to take a little nap.
No, fair enough. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I will add your channel link to the descriptions here and on Rumble after the show and all that stuff. But definitely go check out Toasty and all of the locations. If you have anything you want to shill, now is the time to do it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so Rumble and YouTube, Toasty Mosty. Toasty with the Mosty 69. I'm so tired. And then that base Latinx on YouTube, on X. So yeah, you guys can find me there. Yeah, for sure. But I'm always open to be on people's panel. Fucking always. I'm just really tired now because I woke up super early and I'm just still tired right now. My eyes are heavy.
I have a question for you before you leave. The Rumble thing, or how do you get subs on Rumble who don't know you from another platform?
That's the problem with Rumble. Actually, its discoverability is really fucking stupid over there. It's hard.
It's just like there's a couple of things that make Rumble really difficult. Its chat feature doesn't work on a whole lot of phones. Whenever people subscribe to you from the phone, it sometimes doesn't actually work. It just doesn't. There's a bunch of issues with Rumble that I don't know what to make of it, because sometimes it'll say I got 60 people on Rumble. There's still only one person in chat, and they're from YouTube.
Yes, that's my issue right there. I have
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I have 190 people that follow me on Rumble, and I'll have like, when I first started streaming, it was like, it was probably like 60 people the very first time, and then nobody was in chat. And then now I have 190 people. There'll be like 12 people watching and maybe 5-6 people from my YouTube chat going into the Rumble chat, trying to hype up, if people see
Yeah.
that other people are chatting, they're gonna want to chat
They're likely
too.
to chat.
But
Right.
nobody else fucking joins. It's just like
It doesn't
one new person.
They're all bots. I don't think they're real people at all. I'm not sure there's anybody actually using Rumble, because even when I try to communicate with people on Rumble, I don't get responses.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I
And it's
tried
really
to do
rare.
a search. You can't do a content search on Rumble. Whatever you type in the search bar, it has to be part of a title of somebody's channel, or it's going to say no search results.
Right.
It is not a very well made system.
They need to update that if they expect to compete with, the big boys.
Rumble is like YouTube in 2006. It doesn't have a whole lot
good
of
description.
leading things, and used to, I don't know, those of you who remember YouTube from back then, YouTube used to have all kinds of functionality. When you were in a chat, you could click somebody's name and go to their channel. You could go subscribe to people by right clicking. There was all kinds of amazing functionality that was just a user's choice. And now they've got everything regimented down into pay and unpaid. And then most of the features are saved for us creators. And those are locked behind not paywalls, which is absolutely nuts, but content generation walls, where you have to generate enough content yearly to maintain availability of features in their features they want you to use to make the videos, to make the money that they want to take from you. I'm a little upset by that.
Got everything you said. I got everything you said.
Yeah, it's very tricky with Rumble, and it kind of sucks. Yeah, they're gonna have to do something with that website, seriously.
Because it's like you can't promote your channel, your Rumble channel, to random Rumble users. I don't know how to do that.
The only way I've seen to do that is to actually get involved in the Rumble panelverse, and them folks are hard to get in with. And people who do let you in have a tendency of being more trolly than you are, because that's why they're not on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Rumble is it's kind of like Patreon, for instance. You build your platform on Twitter and YouTube, and then you monetize yourself with Rumble and Patreon. You don't find people.
What I've been
you
doing,
don't get found on Patreon.
That makes sense.
Yeah, what I've been doing, and it's been marginally successful. I've got about 72 subscribers on Rumble right now. Is basically I just put the Rumble link in the description of everything I do on YouTube. I attached the Rumble link and the Twitter link to my YouTube page. On Twitter, I've got my YouTube link and my Rumble link attached to my page there. And when I put out the post for this show, I put the links for both places. And then when we go live on Twix, I attach that link to the other link so that people can find everything everywhere. And I've been doing okay that way, just making sure that every platform I'm on has the links to everything else. Kind of
Right. Yeah. To me, Rumble is just like last choice. Like if I get, in trouble with YouTube because me and my friends say really spicy shit on my panel, I always have Rumble to fall back on. So to me, Rumble's like a second option or something. You know what I mean?
We should talk. We should talk off YouTube. My email address is caucasiansasquatch@gmail.com. Just hit me up. There's format methods that can allow you to advance through the different social medias. So you start on YouTube with very strict censorship, drop YouTube, then Twix, and then whatever other platforms that are most censored, and you end on Rumble after you get hammered and you're sitting around with all your buddies watching copyrighted material. You know what I'm saying? After you don't care no more.
Right. Yeah. And X is another place where I stream my stuff too. I get a lot of views on X, that's for sure. The issue with X, they're counted by views, and you don't know who's actually really watching, and not just somebody that just clicks on the video, watches for like 5 seconds, and just fucking leave. You know what I mean?
Well,
and they leave.
Views are weird.
They're not
anyway,
engaged.
because like sometimes people
Right.
don't actually click on it; they just scroll past it, and sometimes it'll count that as a view too. The views on X are hard to quantify because they haven't got that shit straightened out yet for analytics.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So for
I'm
those
thinking
who are
I'm-
interested, I did put Toasty's link tree both on Squatch's channel and mine here in the chat for you guys, so you'd be able to find all of her links there, rather than just her YouTube channel. So this way you can find her wherever she's at.
And I've had her
so that's,
pinned at the top of my chat for like the past hour since she showed up. Be careful with those fellows that show up from my channel, though. It's a bunch of ne'er-do-wells and skunky fellows with Cheeto stained fingers sitting behind computer desk, you know, neck beard. It's all of them.
We're all neckbeards here.
Mm.
So, but seriously though, Toasty, thank you for coming by, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm always open to panels, as I said. Yeah, always open to like joining a panel because it's always fun to me. I love having a group of people to talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. We'll have to get you on here one of these days when we start talking about like deep space telemetry.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Because we do that too.
But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you guys.
You
Nice
too.
meeting you too.
Bye, guys.
Have a great night. So that was Toasty. I actually just met her, like, and I mean, I met her officially today here on this panel, but I just met her recently. Devil brought her into the Wrong Think chat, and we've been kind of talking a little bit there. Saw a couple of her live streams earlier this week, or at least parts of them, what I had time to watch. And all that. And she was supposed to be the guest on Beelzebub last night, but there was a bit of a mix up about what times were. And so we're going to reschedule her for that and bring her on at another date there. But yeah, so go check her out. All her links are there for everybody to see. I will be putting that link in the description here and on Rumble after the show, because, it's a bitch to edit anything on Rumble live. And then, check her out. Glad she could make it. It's a good time. So, anywho, now that the woman's gone, it's a sausage fest.
Penis.
Get down. Oh, that reminds me. So a while back, I was in Amir's chat, and Aaron Laura said something about English is fun. And I told her that there's a story I'd tell her about that sometime. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'll mention it here. When I was in high school, right, we used to play this game. And the only reason I remember this is because Sasquatch just said penis. Don't worry.
Penis makes you think of everything, doesn't it?
It does. It's a great reminder, It stands out. It stands up. I'm going to stop with the metaphors there because I'm just going to get worse. So anyway, I'm in high school, and there's a bunch of us, and we started playing this ridiculous game. And the game does not have like winners or losers or anything. It was just something fucking fun to do to pass the time in between classes. And so if you're walking down the hall and somebody says to you the word penis, right? And it did not matter how they said it. They could say it in any number of ways. It could be seductive. It could be disgusted. It could just be like matter of fact. It could be, they could shout it at you. They could whisper in your ear. It did not matter. If you heard somebody say the word penis to you, that's it. Just that word. You were then obligated, per the rules of the game, to shout on fire as loud as you possibly could. It did not matter where you were or what you were doing or how crowded it was, or if it could have caused panic that somebody could get trampled under. That was just the rules. So, you'd be walking down the hall and somebody'd be like, yo, penis. And you'd be like, on fire and all that shit. And one of these days, we're playing this stupid game. The hallway was relatively empty at this point. And one of the assistant English teachers for the senior class, I think, came up to us and just heard what we were saying, walked right past, shaking his head and says, having fun with the English language, boys? We're like, yes, sir. So that game persisted, though, after high school. I had a buddy one time who was working at this kind of a lumber mill Lowe's-esque type place where you find like all your 2x4s and shit, and everything's very, very flammable. And we called him one day while he was at work, we're just like, hey, man, can Dan come to the phone? And, so they got Dan, they put him on the phone, and it's like, oh, there's a call for you. He goes on there and he's like, yeah, hello, this is Dan. And I just went, penis. And of course, he was obligated by the rules of the game to shout "on fire" as loudly as possible. He nearly got fired for that because they thought there was a fire in the lumber.
Not almost identical, but totally different circumstance. It's a stupid game from high school. Can't even really define the rules properly because no one ever really challenged them, right? But if someone walks up to you and says "baby," you have to say the word "tasty cakes," and if you don't, they're going to kick you in the shin and run away. And the only way to get that kickback is to sneak up on them and whisper "baby" in their ear. And if they don't say "tasty cakes" quick enough, you whisper it. You have to say "baby" completely, and then kick them. There are some rules, but it's really complicated. What's up, PPM brother? Good to see you.
No,
it's just
that was
stupid.
not
It's
even.
high school.
Yeah, it was
things,
just dumb fun among friends kind of shit. But I mean, it gets worse. There were other much worse games we played
Yeah.
as young adults. There was one that we called the I'm going to describe it here, and it's a whole thing. But we called it the Chicka game. You know, after that bit in the Ferris Bueller soundtrack where it's like bow bow chicka, right? So the reason we called it that was because it doesn't really matter why we called it that. That wasn't the point. But so the point was that it was to surprise your friend or your roommate with your full nudity, right? To just shock them with it, suddenly appear fully naked before them. Now there are rules, right? You don't just show your shit off, right? You had to be totally naked. The only thing was we were all a bunch of long-haired dudes, so hair ties didn't count. That was fine. But if you had your socks on, you were not fully naked, for instance. But you couldn't just pop out and be naked. You had to also wiggle your hips a little bit and say chicka chicka, right? And the reason that you do this
is you're actually gay, but you deny it.
Kind of. It gets better. Okay. So if for whatever reason you have something on that can be identified as an article of clothing, like for instance a sock, right? That means you're not totally naked. Or if you fail to wiggle your hips, or if you fail to say chicka chicka, the other party has the right to beat the ever-loving shit out of you while you're in your skivvies. Right? Now, just beat you bloody, right? However, if you follow all of the rules, they have to live with the image of your nudity in their mind forever and can't retaliate in any way.
I agree, Shock.
We had this game called Letter B. We had a game called Letter B. If you say, everybody participating, if you say any word that begins with letter B and you did not immediately respond with letter B, everybody playing the game that heard you could beat your ass until you said letter B. So if you we had a bunch of people that were watching their language to make sure they don't say a B word. Then those that would forget, and all of a sudden the punches would come. Oh, letter B. Ow, ow. Yeah. Letter B got a lot of people hurt, including myself.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun times. I mean, the rest of the time when we weren't trying to shock each other with like nudity and horrendous angles and shit, we were fighting. So there's that. I mean, and by that I mean like, gloves and mouth guards and beating the shit out of each other. That's what we did for fun. So, that's how I got into MMA actually, was doing that for fun in a basement or a backyard or something. And then we ended up down the road in a fucking cage.
First rule about Fight Club is never mentioning Fight Club.
That is true.
We weren't.
A fact.
There was nothing secret about what we were doing, man. The whole neighborhood knew.
Wait, we're allowed to talk about Project Mayhem?
This wasn't Project Mayhem. This is a bunch of dudes just trying to fuck each other up.
We did a backyard wrestling ring with a whole bunch of mattresses, and it was probably the most ghetto thing you've ever freaking seen. But I have watched a guy take a straight up leg across the face and break his freaking nose, like off the top ring rope shit. Like
exactly, coupled legs.
The homie's like 400 pounds. Damn it, Joey! Why'd you let him get you down?
Yeah. So no, it was good. But yes, Zillage A, that is how that started, was initially it was just sparring with some buddies, and then it got more and more brutal and more vicious over the years things were broken, and by things I mean bones, and that kind of thing. And eventually we got better gear and better location and all that. Right up until the people who ran our local gym ended up getting busted for running meth out of it. So there's that. Yeah.
Is that just like shit that happens in Wyoming?
It's shit that happens everywhere rural, man. It's not just a Wyoming thing. It happens in cities too. There's just so many people there you don't notice.
Whereas in Wyoming, you notice the motherfuckers with the meth because there's no one there.
Yeah, I ever tell you about the barbecue place I went to in South Georgia? I'm absolutely
convinced you told me
the place was a front for selling drugs, because I went to the place, I went and delivered the windows, but it was going to be an overnight thing anyway. And so I was like, screw it, I'll just go ahead and knock out, get up early, and drive home in the morning, right? So I went to the hotel room, and there's this guy behind the counter, and I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, we got a room. And he gives me the room key, and it's like first floor, very first door. And it's the only place that has lights on in it. And I'm like, this is weird. So I go across the street to, like, it wasn't a Bojangles, but it was like in an old Bojangles location. And this place is supposed to sell barbecue. It's online and everything. And I went in, and it's open. The lights are on. And the same guy from inside the hotel is now behind the counter at the freaking, this other place. And I go in and I order what I'm going to order. And homie's like, okay, can you wait for a minute? And I'm like, all right. And he walks out of the room. He's gone for like 20 minutes and comes back with a bag from somewhere else with a load of barbecue. And it's like, here, man. And when I tried to pay him, he just looked at me really, really weird and took the money. I was like, I don't have any change. And so I was like, screw it. I went back to my hotel room and ate my sandwiches and thought about the weird place in the world I ended up. I'm pretty sure it was a front for making methamphetamines, the whole freaking town.
So was somebody else supposed to stay in that room while that light was on?
I have no idea. It was absolutely a lovely stay. The air conditioner worked. The place smelled like it had never been stayed in.
Yeah, the kingpin was supposed to stay there. The boss was supposed to stay there.
I don't know, dude. All I know is that there was not another light on in that hotel. There was only a couple of cups of ice in the ice machine. It was like it had been turned on when I walked in the door. It was really weird. And it didn't get really, really disconcerting until the next morning when I walked out the door and went to go use the drink machine. And when I stepped around the corner, the guy that was at both the barbecue place and the hotel clerk was standing in front of the drink machine, and he unlocked it, pulled out a drink, handed it to me, and then closed it. And I stood there for a second with my dollar in my hand and was like, you want this? He's like, nah, man, just get out of town. Okay.
Something was going down, and you were slowing down the process. You were slowing down the process.
I got some really good barbecue out of it. That stuff was made at home at somebody's house. He went to somebody's house and was like, I need barbecue.
Squatch, where is this town? I would like to participate in the Scooby-Doo episode.
Dude, that was so reepsy shit. When I walked into that restaurant and the same dude was standing behind the counter,
well, I'm getting called.
Freaked me out.
Yeah, you don't want to. So I don't know if Shadow's still there. He said something about getting called, but you don't want to walk into situations where you don't know all the factors with the bravado of youth. It's almost always a bad fucking idea. You know, because you're going to end up way over your head real quick. Yeah.
I wasn't trying to have bravado. I just had no idea I had wandered into something sketchy, and homie was trying to play.
I was saying that I don't think Shadu should do that because he's going to get him killed or like Ned Beatty'd.
I think it'd be funny, though. I do need to go now because I'm being dragged into family shit. Apparently,
you have a family
called Flash Gordon.
Have you not told them that you have a show you have to be on Saturdays?
I'm very disappointed in you, Egg.
I mean, my dad
grown up by now.
My dad walked in and I muted the microphone, and he was worried that the camera was on and pointed at him. It wasn't. He was worried the mic was on. It wasn't.
You only have one family here, Shadu. We're your family.
You're not. No, you're absolutely not.
Believe.
You're just saying that because he's black.
Yeah. And I will not tolerate
Objectively.
that kind of hate.
Yeah. Objectively.
All right, kid. Plug your shit before you go.
Howdy everyone. I've been the Shadow of the Hawk. Not this Wednesday because it's Saturday, but Wednesday nights I run Sword Coast and Sorcery on my channel. It is a D&D 5e campaign. The players are currently hunting some bandits in their disgusting, vile, verminous lair. Should be fun or should be TPK. Don't know which it's going to be. And then I've started building up like a backlog of 10, 15-minute videos. Those should be getting posted sometime the next couple of weeks after I have a nice like stockpile so I can do a weekly upload. Don't know what days those are going to be. And then I'm going to try to squeeze in a Hawk Talk every once or 2 weeks just to kind of vent about the state of the world and not take over someone else's panel to do that. Sorry, Sam. Sorry for doing that if I've ever done it.
I don't know.
Do you do panels? Because I would like to crash that motherfucker.
I will probably be pulling in a mirror and sticking the link in the chat and then pinning it.
Yeah, I might come up.
Acceptable. But before you do that, son, please have the conversation with me about how to prevent the various nefarious activities from taking place against you. Please.
Which nefarious activities?
There's all kinds of terrible stuff people can do. Just I'll give you a checklist of things to have on your StreamYard before you try doing that.
Gotcha. And I'm assuming you're also talking about Carrie's preference for naming schemes.
Among other things, yes, that's a good example.
Yep. Someone asked for my chat or my channel in the chat, and so I posted it there. There you go, Couples Light.
Yeah, and if you again are watching on my Rumble or on my YouTube channel, everybody that you see up here except Toasty, who will be added in later, and some other people's links are actually in the description of the video. You can find their YouTube links there.
Yeah.
So including Shadoo's.
Yep.
I just
Good night, everyone. Wait, you haven't been subbed, Clone?
I'm on Twitter. I'm following you on Twitter. I thought that was enough.
Okay, that's valid. That's fair. That's understandable. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
All right, get the fuck out of here, kid. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Oh man, hey, he's a kick in the pants, isn't he? Yeah, he's a good.
He could correct Gen Z by himself if you just give him some guidance.
Breed more. That's all he needs to do is breed more. He needs to go find blonde-haired, blue-eyed country girl out there frolicking with her horses and go make about 10,000 toe-headed kids.
Yeah. You know, any blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, as long as she's not talking about burning the Reichstag kind of thing.
Did I send you the Tiny Mustache song?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Why,
it's in the email. I haven't checked lately.
Stephen Lynch does a song called Little Tiny Mustache, and it is right up your alley, bud. You'd love it.
Talking about that guy from Germany?
Austria.
Yeah,
but
the
yeah.
Austrian painter.
Did you guys ever? Okay, so this is something that's been bothering me for a while, and I think I might have brought this up on the channel way back. So there's a theory that that the mustache man from Austria, the reason that he got into politics and then subsequently world domination is because his Viennese instructor told him that he sucked in terms of painting because he painted all these like bland, drab watercolors, right? And it hurt his feelings so much he decided to take it out by setting fire to the entire known world. But here's the thing about that. Winston Churchill is about the same age as Adolf Hitler was, right? Give or take. And he also indulged in rather drab, boring watercolors of landscapes, right? Except that his instructor told him that they were inspired. And there is this weird thing. Well, like here's the theory is that because if you put Churchill's paintings up against one of Hitler's paintings, you're going to have a very hard time figuring out which one of them painted it because their styles are shockingly similar, right?
Whoa.
And they're also they all kind of suck. They all kind of do. They're just basic fucking bitch
they weren't
watercolors.
great. Their subjects were
You know?
always very bland. It would be some abandoned barn somewhere,
Right.
or old messed up water wheel, and it's on both counts. I was just thinking
But
about
they-
So
some
the
of
difference between the two is what the instructor said.
That's
approval
the
versus
theory is
support.
that they both aspired to greatness to different sides of the greatness coin, right? Because greatness does not equal goodness, by the way, for those of you out there looking to take that out of context. Greatness is not the same thing as goodness, right? So they both aspired to greatness, but just on like opposite ends of the war at the end there, right? And one could maybe draw a correlation that because one was told he was bad and should never paint again, and the other was said like, "Hey, this is really good. You should keep doing this." That might have ended up where they dictated where they ended up later in life on whichever spectrum of good or evil. Of course, there are a bunch of people who say Winston Churchill was just as bad. He was just on the English side. So I don't know. Look at that what you will.
I'm gonna have to think on that, bro.
Wow. I'm not gonna tell another kid that his stuff sucks again.
No. Listen. All right, so I have an amazing voice. I have an inability to carry a tune in a bucket with handles with helps. I cannot sing. I can imitate so well that it sounds.
I got bullshit. I got receipts saying you can sing.
I hear what you're saying, but I heard someone do that and I imitated it. And I don't know how to sing, but I can imitate things that I hear, like a bird call, right? But I don't understand it. I don't know what it means. I can't reproduce it in a different way. It can only be done exactly the same way as it was done, the way I heard it, right?
Sure.
So I can't write songs. I can't keep a beat for longer than a particular imitation. And so there's some things I can do because I've done just hours and hours and hours of practice, like gin and juice and a bluegrass. I can do the whole gin and juice song in bluegrass. I got a few others, but like, yet again, it's just a matter of learning to imitate different parts of the song and then putting it all together. Now, is that singing? I don't think so, because I can't do it
I think
differently.
it's a start.
Cool.
Look, I think it's a start. I think that's how all singers start, is by imitating someone else, right? Usually as children, like they'll hear something that they like and they try to make those sounds with their own voice.
Sure.
And that's, so it all starts out that way. I just think it's just a matter of familiarity and practice. At a certain point, it's going to click in your head, like, oh, this is how I can do this. I can put it together this way now, like any other
that's
thing
the
you
difference.
practice.
Brandy imitated Whitney Houston, like down to a T. That's how she started.
But that's talent. This would be a learned skill. I'm not saying it's not a skill I could learn, that I can't learn the skill. I can. There are things that I do that are like singing, but I firmly believe they're not the same in my brain. Like when people are singing, I guarantee you my thought process is totally different on it, because like I said, it's more like whistling a bird call than it is composing art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that. I think you could say the same of like any art medium, really. There's some guys who, like myself, right? I can draw, I can paint, I can do those things. I took years and years of lessons, but it's not my go-to skill.
Right.
Kind of thing. But how I learned to do it was by imitating other pieces of art first, right? I see something that I like and I try to draw it myself. It starts out with like maybe some tracing and then some like freehand, just kind of like eyeballing the thing and trying to replicate it. And eventually I started creating stuff on my own, kind of thing. And I don't think it's like necessarily like consciously trying to build a talent. I just think it's a natural progression. If that makes sense.
In my case, it was consciously building a talent, building a skill. It's not a talent. I have very little talent singing. See, this is why I say it this way. I have family members that are legitimate geniuses at what they do. Some of them run CNC machines, freehand. some of them, like Jake, Untethered Live on YouTube. That man can play any instrument you put in his hand. If you invent a new instrument and hand it to him, he will go rant, 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 and then start playing Dixie. It's just something he does. It's not something he learned.
No, you're right. There are people who have innate talents, right? There are mechanics who don't know the first fucking thing about what a specific device is called. They just know how to put it together so that it does the thing that it's supposed to do. In the words of, or to paraphrase rather, Kaylee from Fireflies, like, machines just speak to me.
Talk to me. Yeah, they speak to me. Exactly.
Like, kind of thing. And there are people, I've met people who are like that musically, who could play any instrument that you put in front of you, or could, I knew one guy who, if he heard a song twice, could play it back on his guitar or piano without missing a note for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He just had an eidetic memory for that. And he didn't know the names of the notes or anything, or where the fucking placements were supposed to be. He just felt it out.
Ken, my cousin Ken, when he was 16, I think. Anyway, his first year in high school, he went to the band instructor, and understand he had been playing instruments his whole life, but he had never played a saxophone. He went to the band instructor and was like, "Hey, I'd like to do a solo on center field for the homecoming game." And the band instructor's like, "We don't do that." And he's like, "No, let me show you." And he played something, and homie was playing a solo center field during the homecoming game. And as I understand it, it made people cry. It was before cameras and stuff, so there's no recording of it. But I have seen this man stand in a house holding a jigsaw and a skill saw, playing both of them, running them at different speeds and making the right sounds, the right notes, I guess, doing Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood.
Yeah.
Squatch, have you heard Richard Cheese's jazz cover of Gin and Juice?
Yes, I have. I prefer his. He
got a lot of good ones,
dude.
He did Closer by 9 Inch Nails. Which is one of the most fucked up songs I've ever heard in my life.
He did WAP. That WAP song is awesome.
It's great too.
And he did it like a month after the song came out. He was quick.
Yeah. Now Richard Cheese is he's pretty special. I love his style. He does that whole like Lounge Lizard former Rat Pack crooner kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he does it
Big
so fucking well. But he does these songs like
Down with the Sickness is a good one.
That's another good one. I get down with the sickness.
I think the first thing I ever heard by him was by Eazy-E originally.
Let's see, hold on.
With so much trauma in the LBC.
Get up, come on, down with the sickness.
Yeah, that is.
It's a whistle. It's a bird call. It's not something I have to do it exactly the way I heard it.
Yeah.
So much trauma in the LBC. It's kind of hard being Snoop D-O-double-G, but somehow coming out for funky shit every single day. I've got bitches in the living room getting it on, and they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. So we're gonna smoke an ounce to this. G's up, hoes down, while you motherfuckers bounce to this. And I'm rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice. Yeah.
Well done, sir. Well done. Yeah, it does. It does. It sounds classier with that kid. So when you're listening to something fucking horrific like WAP, right? It just lends it kind of a little bit of a classy air. So you don't quite. There's a disconnect in your brain. It's just like, well, this is disgusting, but he's singing it so well,
right?
Sound like something you can let your kids.
He sounds so happy about it, dude. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
And like, one of his rules is he doesn't change any words from the original song.
Yeah, it's not. They're not parodies.
Word. If they say the N word, he's gonna say the N word. Yep.
No, Richard Cheese definitely. If you guys out there in chat, if you don't know Richard Cheese, definitely go check his shit out because it's hysterical, and he's very good at it. You know.
I really liked Cake's version of I Will Survive. It was really good. It's done in kind of an upbeat lounge sort of approach. It's not the same, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'll look out for it. I don't know that I've
I
heard
mean,
that.
the Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive.
Yeah, but Cake did it. He does it in a well, I mean, he's a baritone, so he does it in a deeper register.
Oh, that sounds like it's gonna be funny.
It's not really funny. It's really, really, really good.
Huh.
I was petrified. Yeah.
No. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. Like that.
I gotta hear that one.
It's a good one, dude. It's real good.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think, fellas, this is probably a good upbeat note to end it on, considering I came in fucking firing on all goddamn cylinders at the beginning of the
And
show.
calm down.
Yeah, you were a bad boy today. Bad boy.
Yeah, I said some shit. I meant all of it. No disclaimer. I meant all of it. Yeah. But anyway, but this is probably a good place to end it. Also, I'm starting to get a little bit of a twitchy response from my internet connection, so I don't really want to have to fucking deal with that right now either. But we're at 2.5 hours, so why don't we go around the horn and let people know where they can find us and what will be coming up soon, and we'll start with Clue.
You can find me right here on YouTube at the Clue channel and 4705. I don't know. Just type in the Clue channel and you'll find me. Also on Twix at the Clue channel. I'm gonna upload some videos there because I think the videos that I've been uploading on YouTube got me shadow banned. So I'm hoping Elon will show mercy and let me upload them there instead. So yeah, that's it. That's all. That's the only plans I got.
Okay, cool. Very much. Glad to have you back on the panel, man. It's been a minute,
Yep,
it's been
I'm
good.
back.
It's been good. Good deal. Caucasian Sasquatch, what you got coming up?
What up, buddy? You did a real good job tonight. I really appreciate you letting me be up here and saying all my silly things, not yelling at me too much. And I really, really dug the panel. I had a good time. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing the blast radius with Captain Curmudgeon, and hopefully Jay Rillo will show up, but I don't know. He's on some kind of weird swing shift. So I have no idea when he's working and when he's not. So hopefully Jay Rillo will show up from Juicy J's Hot Topics. And let's see, Tuesday is the Naughty Corner with Ajot from Ajot's Corner. What was the other one? No, I think that pretty much covers it. That's all I've got this week. I don't have anything else planned.
No, fair enough.
And all of those are at 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm on Twitter as Caucasian CAUSQUA2 because they wouldn't let me do the full name.
Yeah.
I'm Rumble, it's Caucasian Sasquatch. I'm everywhere else as Caucasian Sasquatch. I'm easy to find. You can come hate me, love me, hate to love me, love to hate me. I don't mind. I'm not too aggressive.
Are you saying Caucasian's a bad word?
It does seem to be. And I love it when I come into a chat and the people don't know who I am and they sit there and debate on whether I'm Asian, Caucasian, or just thick.
It's just maybe an Asian who's bad at spelling.
Right? You know that doesn't exist. Stop it.
They're genius.
Neither do Sasquatches. They're both mythical creatures.
Mythical creatures.
So yeah. But I mean, you could have gone with cracker ass Sasquatch. I'm just saying.
I seriously considered Salty Sasquatch, but at about the same time I started up, Salty Cracker was going real big, and I was like, it's a little too derivative.
Yeah. definitely. Well, I guess that brings it over to me. Obviously, if you're watching on my channel, you know where to find me. You can find me here and on Rumble under Samuel the Infamous. And by here, I mean YouTube. And over on Twix under Hentai Surprise. I don't think that Toasty has anything to worry about as far as explaining the joke that is her handle over there, Latinx, or base Latinx, because that's a good joke. That's a joke everybody can get. I have to explain Hentai Surprise, and I also have to explain why I get a bunch of fucking deranged
Come on,
hentai
man.
accounts liking
It's
fucking
much
political tweets
better
that I
if
put
you
out.
don't. The joke is so
Yeah, don't.
They were just tell them.
I haven't been doing it that much, but it does come up once in a while. And they're just like, why do you call yourself something so degenerate, but you're in all these conservative circles? I was like, because I'm a conservative and the name is funny.
And the left can't eat. And they can't shoot either, apparently.
They can't shoot.
Yeah, because I got a sense of humor, and sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with fucking politics. It's just a joke.
Did Quentin Tarantino ever explain what was in the case in Pulp Fiction? He didn't. So people today still are talking about what's in the case. What was in that case? What was in that briefcase? So don't explain.
It was
Just
the
have him
head
keep.
from Seven.
It's the what?
Right.
It's what was in the box in Seven was also in the case.
What's in the box?
Gwyneth Paltrow was in there. No.
Fetus.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Anyway,
we might need to end this before we go any further.
Anyway, yeah, we should probably stop talking about what was in the box. But anyway, yeah, so you can find me here doing live streams. We do Abyssal Musings on Friday nights. This show, Screaming into the Void, Saturday afternoons. You can also find me on my friend Devil's channel, Beelzehub, where we do Beelzepub at the ass early hours of the morning, 1 a.m. my time, and which is to say Mountain Time. You can also find me over on Adam the Renaissance Nerd's channel on Mondays for Mellow Mondays in the evenings, where we talk about nerd shit and nerd out. It's great. And tonight you can also find me in the chat and moderating and doing producerial shit. And if she makes me come up on panel and swear for her again on Exiled Lioness 2, we'll be going live in a few hours, so I'll be over there as well. Other than that, yeah, look, I'm going to put this out there. I rarely do this. We're 105 episodes into this fucking show, and I almost never go full on, shill, like hit the like, subscribe, share it out, or all that. But seriously, if you guys out there in the chat, if you enjoyed this, right? If you think that anything that anybody up here has said has any kind of merit and you want other people to hear that, I don't care if you like it. I don't really care if you subscribe. It's nice if you do. I appreciate it. But it's we don't do this for the monetization. I don't anyway. So but if you think that anything we said needs to be heard by other people, please do share the shit out. Pass it around like a pack of cigarettes in a prison yard. Get it out there. So I just do it. Just do it. Be like Nike. That said, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here across all the chats, across all the places that we're currently streaming to. We really do appreciate you guys coming every week and having the conversations with us, and just hanging out, really. Thanks to everybody who was on the panel, especially Toasty, your first time here, and hopefully not last. And we will, and I actually do believe we're still live on her Rumble and channel right now as well. So YouTube channel as well. So yeah, all you guys watching over there, thank you for hanging out with us. It's been great. To my panelists, thank you guys for showing up every week and allow me to. Today was pretty rant heavy. It doesn't always go this rant heavy, but today was pretty rant heavy. So
we love the rant heaviness, Mr. Sam. we like that because we learn something every time you go on a rant. We learn something. I know I do.
Yeah. So, and to be fair though, Clue, and everybody else out there, I do sometimes just start fucking saying shit and without thinking about it. And so it just, sometimes I'm not always right. I'm not always the best source or anything. I do highly encourage people to go check out other sources and stuff like that. But, I'm one of those guys. I don't know a lot about any one thing, but I know a little bit about a lot of things, So it is what it is. But yeah, we're gonna get
one thing before you go. It's a question I had about the other show. I don't think I heard you say it. The show yesterday, Abyssal Musings.
Abyssal Musings, yeah.
Abyssal. Two different meanings. Anyway, You said that sodium and chloride were dangerous apart, but they're safe together.
Yeah.
So if you take sodium by itself, pure sodium, that's bad, and pure chlorine is bad.
Yes.
Okay.
But
They
you
will
put it
kill you.
together and it's a condiment.
It's table salt. Yeah.
He said together they keep each other from killing the humans, but
They-
apart,
Yes.
shit.
Part
They also
sodium-
preserve meat and add flavor.
Yeah.
So yeah. All
Zillage,
right,
I
but
didn't mean
yes.
that. Abysmal mute.
You know what's funny? So my good friend Horror Amarada, right? She started a second channel called The Abysmal Critic, where because she also does things that are very Lovecraftian themed. Because like myself, she very much loves Lovecraft, but she started out calling it the Abyssal Critic, which makes more sense in the context. But nobody could fucking pronounce it right. They all kept saying abysmal, so she's like, "Fuck it, I'll just lean into it," and changed it to abysmal.
That's how my show became Sasquatch Shields. It was Sasquatch Says, but everyone was like, "You're such a shield, you're such a shield, you're such a shield." And I was like, "Well, I guess they're not wrong.
Guess that's a new
Right?
brand.
You don't have to."
I suppose. All right. So now, finally, we are going to get the fuck out of here. Thank you all for coming. It's been a great fucking show. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we will see you all next time. And just for context as to how bad things are getting out there, there's always some beauty in the world. And remember that it could be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.